Good evening. The Committee of the Whole meeting for December 2nd, 2025 is hereby called to order at 5:01 p.m. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Barrero.
Here.
Alderwoman Garza.
Here.
Alderman Masiacos.
Present.
Alderman Nunez.
Here.
Alderman Franco.
Here.
Alderman Seville.
Here.
Alderman Banuelos.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith.
Here.
Alderman Bug.
Here.
Alderwoman Bade.
Here.
Alderman Larson.
Here.
Alderman White.
Here.
Mayor Lash is present.
Okay. First, we'll begin with the approval of the minutes. Agenda item 250945,
So
approve the
moved.
minutes for Tuesday, November 18, 2025. Committee of the Whole meeting. Motion was made by Alderwoman Garza, seconded by Alderman Franco. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries by voice vote. Next, we'll move to the mayor's report. Go ahead, John, take it away.
Thank you so much, Mayor. It is a night of recognition here in the city of Aurora as we honor two groups and two individuals who've done an amazing job representing Aurora, both locally and nationally. We're going to start here tonight with honoring a true cornerstone to the city of Aurora. They've celebrated 50 years of care, service, and action to the city as they've championed many quality of life initiatives. They've raised over $200,000 in scholarships for area students, and they partnered with countless organizations to provide critical services for those in need. Without question, they care, they act, and they serve. Please join us in honoring the 50th anniversary of the Aurora Actionaires here tonight. We'll invite up members of the Actionaires. They could come up in front with Mayor Lash. Mayor Lash is going to be reading out a proclamation to commemorate their 50th anniversary here in the city of Aurora.
So first of all, thank you all for coming up here and maintaining the history. 50 years is seems to be a landmark that we're celebrating a lot this year with Mutual Ground, with the Quad County Urban League and a lot of other organizations in our city, and you've maintained that and should be proud of that work. So without further ado, whereas on New Year's Eve in 1974, Donna Williams, Martha Hickling, and Carolyn Johnson met at Hoi Peng Restaurant in Aurora to lay foundation for a social club and service organization that would champion quality of life in the community. And whereas the bold vision of these three women, along with 18 friends, led to the formation of the Aurora Auctioneers in 1975, which prioritized acts of benevolence and donations to causes that aligned with the motto, "We care, we act, we served." And whereas since its inception, the Auctioneers have a cornerstone of the Aurora community, raising over $200,000 in scholarships awarded to area high school students, while also providing tuition assistance to local 8th grade students who attended the Illinois Math and Science Academy summer enrichment for academics and mathematics program. Whereas the Auctioneers have also partnered with dozens of local organizations, including Hesed House, the Aurora Interfaith Food Pantry, the Marie Wilkinson Food Pantry, the Salvation Army, the Aurora Housing Authority, the Fox Valley Park District, and our very own Aurora African American Heritage Advisory Board, in advancing its mission and providing critical services for those in need. And whereas the city of Aurora expresses its heartfelt gratitude to the Aurora Auctioneers for its impressive 50-year tenure and its exceptional commitment to compassion, action, and service within the community. Now, therefore, I, John Lash, Mayor of the City of Aurora, do hereby commend the Aurora Auctioneers for its half-century of service and leadership and proclaim that August 20th, the founding day of this esteemed organization, as Aurora's Auctioneers Day in the City of Aurora, and express the appreciation of the citizens of Aurora to the Aurora Auctioneers for its decades of service to our community. Let's give it up.
Ready, 1, 2, and 3.
And I'll return a microphone so you can say it.
Thank you so much again. Hopefully everybody can hear me, and greetings to you all. Sure, okay. Can you all hear me? Awesome. First of all, giving honor to the Most High, my name is Rebecca Ruffin, Club Vice President of the Aurora Actionaires. We are extending gratitude to Mayor John Lash for the recognition of the acting, caring, and serving the Aurora Actionaires has provided for 50 years and counting for the great city of Aurora. Thank you so much.
Thank you again to the Aurora Actionaires. 50 years of service to the city of Aurora. That deserves another round of applause. So the next group we're going to honor here tonight has been established for just 1 month. They're a newer group here in the city of Aurora, but they're still making history. Thanks to the efforts of city staff members, Michelle Clark, our interim chief of HR, Katrina Boatwright, our senior disability services manager, and LaDonna Carr, our director of training and development, the city of Aurora now has a national coalition of 100 black women metropolitan chapter right here in Aurora. The parent organization was founded in 1981 to advocate on behalf of black women and girls, focusing on leadership, economic empowerment, and health and wellness. Today, the organization has created ample opportunities for black women to network, build leadership skills, and foster professional growth. The new Aurora chapter is set to build a dynamic and engaged network of women and community stakeholders, all committed to the advancement and empowerment of black women and girls in the region. So some great stuff here in Aurora. We'll invite up any members of the group who'd like to come up here with Mayor Lash. We have 3 Mayor's Awards of Excellence ready for our 3 city employees who helped to make this happen.
Get near so I don't have to find you.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Where's LaDonna? Okay. Everybody up here that wants to be up here? So it was very exciting to be part of the historic moment when this chapter was formed just a few weeks ago. And it's even more exciting to know that it is City of Aurora employees who are leading the effort, as well as members from the community in the area who've all stepped up to accept a leadership role and to chart a new chapter here in Aurora area history. So it's my honor to present our 3 city employees who have accepted leadership roles with the Mayor's Award of Excellence. First, Michelle Clark for making history. For making history in Aurora, helping to establish the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Inc., Aurora, Illinois Metropolitan Chapter, and serving as the organization's first president, while also committing to the advancement and empowerment of black women and girls across the region. We'll do a group photo in a minute. To Katrina Boatwright. Here, I'll get this out of the way. And LaDonna Carr. Congratulations. Okay. And without further ado, I'll ask the chapter president, Michelle Clark, to say a few words, and then we'll take the microphone out of the picture and take a group picture.
Thank you. On behalf of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Aurora, Illinois Metropolitan Chapter, thank you for recognizing us tonight and for your continued support for our mission. Tonight marks our formal introduction to the wider Aurora community, and we are honored to take our place among the many organizations working to strengthen the city. I want to acknowledge our charter members whose dedication, service, and belief in what we are building made this moment possible. Their commitment to equity, education, advocacy, and civic engagement is the foundation on which we stand. NCBW AIM exists to improve the lives of Black women and girls right here in Aurora and throughout the surrounding region. We advocate, we mentor, we lift, and we partner. Our work is grounded in the belief that when women and girls thrive, families thrive, neighborhoods thrive, and communities rise. Our motto, be the one thing that changes everything. Our motto is be the one thing that changes everything. Each of us has the ability to spark progress, remove barriers, and create opportunity. Our theme, Stronger Together, reminds us that lasting change is never a solo act. True transformation happens when a community comes together, invests in itself, and builds the kind of future it wants to see. We look forward to serving, collaborating, and being a strategic partner with the City of Aurora. Together with our residents, businesses, and civic leaders, we can expand access, inspire leadership, and create pathways that empower Black women and girls. Thank you for welcoming us, and thank you for your support as we begin this important work.
We'll pause and take a group photo.
Let's have the awards out in front if we can. You taller people in the back, short people in the front.
Got to make sure everybody gets in.
Everyone see me? All right, that's a good thing. Okay, ready? Right here. 1, 2, and... Okay, you're just in time. Ready, guys? 1, 2, and 3.
Well, congratulations again to the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Aurora, Illinois chapter. History here in Aurora. And finally, here tonight, we're also going to be honoring 2 Aurora residents and West Aurora High School students who made the national spotlight last week. Asher and Emily Lesniak, who've been playing the trumpet and saxophone respectively, performed alongside 180 high school musicians from around the country at last week's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Over 3 million spectators lined the parade route last week. Over 50 million more watched on TV. And both Asher and Emily made Aurora proud. Congratulations.
Okay, so I'll just say both to Asher and Emily, the Mayor's Award of Excellence for being selected to participate in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, sharing your elite musical talents with tens of millions of viewers and proudly representing the city of Aurora on an international stage. Thank you so much. You should be very proud of your work. And if you guys want to say something, you're welcome to. They didn't come up.
Go. Ready? 1, 2, and 3.
Now let's get out of the way somehow.
Mom, would you like to come up and say a few words about your kids?
I get to say a few words.
Tell us about it.
Thank you very much. We had a great time with these two. They've both been in band since 5th and 6th grade. The audition process was kind of intense, but they sent in their videos and they were both accepted. And from a parent's perspective, thank God both of them were accepted instead of just one. But it was kind of like dropping them off at college. They had a whole week where they got to learn the music, learn the marching. They had leadership clinics, and they met kids from all over the United States on different instruments as well. They got some time in the city to be kind of like little adults and see some different things and some shows. So it was just a neat experience, and we're glad they were able to get out there and both able to go. So yeah, I'll hop in the photo. Yeah, just us here tonight.
Alrighty, ready? 1, 2, and 3. Alright, perfect.
Only 180 students across the country, 2 right here from Aurora. Give it up for Asher and Emily. Great celebratory night here in Aurora. Thank you all for coming out. That concludes the mayor's report here tonight. Thank you.
So if you want to take a minute just to wrap things up and go back out into the cold, if you want to stay and join the meeting, it should be a fun one tonight. Okay, we'll move to the next section of the agenda, the public comment section. Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
We do, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please read the rules of public comment?
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, all persons shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the council. Under our rules, any person may address the committee of the whole for up to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for all public comment. No person other than the timekeeper or the chair for the purpose of maintaining order may interrupt a person recognized for public comment during his or her comments. Members of the committee of the whole shall not engage with nor respond to a speaker during the time set aside for public comment. Staff is directed to follow up with members of the public with respect to any concerns raised during public comment within the scope of the city's authority following the adjournment of this meeting.
Thank you for reading the rules. Madam Clerk, will you please read the name of the first person wishing to offer public comment?
Sun Knight?
Welcome, Sunyat. You have 3 minutes beginning now.
A city cannot prevent the federal government from enforcing federal immigration laws. The Federal Supremacy Clause of the Constitution, which states that federal law supersedes state and local laws. The ordinance that passed by Aurora City Council is just a symbolic and politically motivated measure to restrict use of city property. It's not legally binding. It does not prevent ICE from operating elsewhere in the city. ICE can enter areas open to the general public, dining areas, parking lot, waiting rooms of a business without a permission. ICE is still present and operating. It is illegal for businesses in Illinois to post no ICE signs unless the owner is referencing his or her ICE machine is not working. Maybe they don't have ICE to serve their customers. You can put no ICE signs. Then they could put their no ICE signs. Federal agents generally do not need a warrant to enter the public areas of a business. Example, their dining rooms, lobbies, etc. what legal right the signs carry. Putting signs around the city that does not have no legal weight confirms that the people getting false information and false security. ICE can enter the same as any member of the general public. Here to thank Sheriff James Mendrick, who's running for Illinois governor, for clearing the law so the population of Illinois does not get confused for signs that does not have any legal binding. He's protecting the real law and order. Signs have no legal bindings, just a political theater across the cities. Sheriff Mendrick, a leader with integrity and a good communicator, a truth teller. The signs across the city are just a political theater. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Madam Clerk, do we have any other members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
We do, Mr. Mayor.
Please read the name of the next person.
Ann Skelly.
Is there an Ann Skelly? Ann Skelly? Okay, will you please read the name of the next person wishing to offer public comment?
Aurora Resident 3.
Is there an Aurora resident 3?
Yeah, hello everyone.
Thank you, Aurora resident. You have 3 minutes beginning now.
Hello everyone. First of all, I wanted say Merry Christmas and I wanted to say just Merry Christmas. But just like the comment that I heard was just like it's very horrible. How can you be okay with people who are American citizens or Hispanic descent who maybe speak Spanish or not, and they can be taken away by ICE? How can you be so supporting that when people did the same thing to your different constituents way back in the 1950s or in the 1940s or even way before? So I don't even know how can you be able to support that. It's just very horrible, and what ICE is doing is not correct. That's what I wanted to say. Is just it's really horrible that a black woman is supporting this kind of behavior towards the Hispanic citizens of Aurora. That's just horrible. Also, I want to say, that I'm glad that many people spoke out, during the last month, because, we always see the 3 different people speaking out here in the city council chambers, and we need to change that. The city of Aurora is not those 3 people who are basically just agitators. So we need to have more people speak out, especially the Hispanic community, who's being either whether you support what's going on or not, you need to speak out, because we do not have that right now. Right now, there's how these people speak out. There are a few people who are speaking out, and more people who are of Hispanic descent need to speak out, because we just are keeping quiet, and we need to stop that, because we need to stop the type of dehumanization that's going on right now, by being okay with ICE race and by being okay with racial profiling. Also, just one last thing. I know that you guys are looking for many different business deals going on in the city. One, I am against the gas station that is proposed to be building by Orchard Road. I think we have already many gas stations. How many gas stations do we really need? And also, we just need to have I am against the cell phone surveillance that's going on. And I know you guys going with Nexus, or the other one in Arizona, but I think that you should be against the one in Arizona, because that guy just has a bad rap. And just one final thing, we need more people who are Aurora residents to speak out and not be afraid. Especially we need, and thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Aurora resident 3. Madam Clerk, will you please read the name of the next person wishing to offer public comment?
Mavis Bates.
Welcome, Ms. Bates. You have 3 minutes beginning now.
Thank you. My name is Mavis Bates. I am an elected official. I am on the King County Board District Member, District 4. A new gas station on Orchard Road, which would be in my district, would not be good for Aurora. It would be bad for the environment, bad for public health, and bad for our economic development, and especially bad for our quality of life. A mega gas station will pollute with volatile organic compounds like benzene, toluene, xylene, all chemicals known to cause asthma, birth defects, and cancer. Leaks from underground storage tanks are common and can contaminate millions of gallons of groundwater, which Aurora relies on for drinking water. The land use for this mega gas station will be condemned forever. Cleanup of contaminated brownfield sites is so expensive that abandoned gas stations can become ghost towns with no future purpose or cleaned up at a huge expense, often to the taxpayers of the community. Runoff of harmful pollution such as gasoline, oil, and grease can get into our nearby waterways, even the Fox River, harming our local ecosystems. We already have so many gas stations that we don't need another one. Have you had to wait at a gas station lately? I never have to wait. I just pull up and gas up. There's another gas station right across the street from this proposed gas station, and Woodman's is about a mile away. With sales of electric vehicles growing rapidly, gas stations are not needed as much as they used to be. I want to thank Mr. Franco for talking to me today and helping me to understand the situation. I do understand this is a difficult decision for you. I know Quick Trip is offering us a sweet deal, $3 million in infrastructure improvements, but please don't take this deal. Please find another way to make this space into a high-quality commercial neighborhood. We are all concerned about economic development. This mega gas station will not really help our economic development. They don't really make their money from gasoline. They make it mostly from the convenience store. And this will just take business away from businesses like Woodman's, Aldi's, Chipotle, and Portillo's. We can do better with this piece of land. Please don't sell it off to Quick Trip. There are many essential other services that could provide revenue to the tax coffers, but not create these problems. Commercial is good, gas stations are bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. Madam Clerk, will you please read the name of the next person wishing to offer public comment?
Marissa Martinez.
Welcome, Ms. Martinez. You have 3 minutes beginning now.
Good afternoon. My name is Marissa Martinez, and I am a proud Aurora resident. This is my second public comment on this matter, as I spoke out with my concerns at the Building Zoning Economic Committee last week. The land at the Orchard and Sullivan intersection should not be carelessly developed. I understand Alderman Franco is a strong proponent for this, and I wish he would have stayed after the meeting last week to understand my concerns instead of choosing to walk out of the meeting with the developers. Mr. Franco, I understand that the majority of your constituents do not want a data center or a warehouse there, and they are asking you for restaurants and development. Therefore, I am begging you to hear me. If we allow the developers to disrupt this natural land, then they cannot be allowed to build and leave without community ties to follow the impacts and ripple effects of this development. Remember, we live here, they don't. At the meeting last week, when the developers were put on the spot, they quickly offered to include an on-site solar charging station. This is clear evidence that they are not operating on thin margins. Therefore, if they build, then they must pay into a community benefits fund. This fund should be created with as much community input as possible to make sure everyone's ideas and needs are heard. Alderwoman Garza, last week you voted in favor, stating that this will bring in taxes and create jobs. However, let's be clear. Large corporations do not pay food service workers a living wage. So are you really helping the people of Aurora, or are you continuing a cycle of low-paying jobs in our community? I am calling on all of you to postpone this vote tonight so that a community fund can be included in this contract. This community fund can be used for many community benefits. But to help you imagine what I'm proposing, I'll give you an example. If we develop this gas station, there is a risk of increasing human trafficking in Aurora due to the nature of gas stations. So this community fund could be used for an annual event partnering with a nonprofit. A suggestion, Truckers Against Trafficking. Truckers have a career where they can be trained to point out potential human trafficking. We can provide them with resources such as a hotline so that they can report it. This is just one of the many ways that we can use this community fund. So I'm asking you to slow down and critically think about this. It should not be carelessly developed. Postpone the vote and give us a chance to add a community fund. Thank you.
3 minutes is up. Madam Clerk, do we have any more members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to the committee reports. I'll ask Chairman Mike Seville of the BZ&E Committee to offer that report.
Thank you, Mayor. The BZ&E Committee met on November, what is the date? 18th, 2025. I'm sorry, November 26th, 2025, and reviewed the following items. The first one is 25-0692, an ordinance vacating city easements and stormwater control easements on the property located at the southwest corner of Butterfield Road and North Farnsworth Avenue in King County, Illinois, 60502, as well as 25-0845, an ordinance granting a conditional use permit for a drive-through restaurant, 2530, use on the property located at 404 North Euler Road. This is a vacation of city easement in order to allow a restaurant drive-through facility to be built on here. It's about a 2,000 square foot facility and about 130 parking spaces.
Are there any questions or discussion on this agenda item?
Yeah.
Alderman Bug.
In looking through this, I thank the commission because they had some excellent questions. Who's going to address this for staff?
We have staff.
Tracy.
Staff report.
Steve.
So one of the questions asked in commission, because this is going to be basically in the parking lot, is if all the existing businesses in the existing strip were aware that their exposure to Yellow Road would be blocked. I saw the answer was yes, but I can't imagine they're too happy about it. So I'd like to know when those tenants, I mean, if I came into a building and I had a full exposure to Yellow Road, and then you built a building right in front of my building, so my business was blocked from Yellow Road, I would be upset if that was my business. So I wanted to get a little bit more information on that.
Steve Browell, planner with the City Zoning Division. So your question is if they have been informed, or if they
have, when, and are they? I mean, just the fact that they've been informed, are they in agreement with it?
Sure, and we do have the petitioner here to discuss that. But before he comes up, I just do want to point out that the location of the new building on Lot 2, which is currently a parking lot, the building is located as far south as it can be and as far east as it can be. So a lot of the vehicles that are driving south on Eel Road will still be able to see the existing building when they're driving towards the building. So I would say that
it'll be blocked for all the vehicles driving north.
But there will also be monument signage that's already there, that's remaining, and that will show their space. And I would say that if they're driving north, they will still have certain visibility from North Euler Road.
Okay.
But if Mr. Kobler, if you want to come up and address the conversations you've had with the tenants in your
Existing business owners.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mayor, while he's coming up, I just want to say I misspoke. I read the wrong one. The second item is a resolution approving a vision to the final plan for the Oakhurst Center subdivision located at 404 and 444 North Yola Road. That's item number 25-0846. Sir?
They just,
You'd like-
oh yeah, but they haven't announced it. It's just says 404 Yola.
He couldn't hear the question. Are you able to repeat the
I can
question?
hear you just fine.
You can hear me
But
just
I
fine.
couldn't hear what he said.
Oh, I wasn't speaking with you.
Alderman Bug, do you want to restate your question?
Sure.
Yes.
The status of the tenants who are already there, the businesses who are already there.
Yes.
So, in commission, it says that they were informed that this new structure would go in front of their businesses,
Yes.
partially blocking them from Yola Road, the sight line. So when were the existing businesses informed, and are they in agreement with this?
They were informed and they actually love it because it's going to bring more people into the shopping center. I own that building too, where the tenants are.
Oh, no, I understand that. That's why
So-
we're asking.
So they are happy to have the extra activity or whatever.
Okay.
That's what I was told by them.
That's what you were told.
That's what they told me.
Oh, okay.
The cleaners, out down the road.
Okay.
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 Any other questions for the petitioner before
Yes, I have a question.
Alderman Benuelos?
Thank you, Mayor. Do we know what business is going in there? What type of drive-through?
I do not. I did not want to jump ahead of myself. Didn't know if I was going to get approval of a drive-through. So I didn't want to put it on the market till I know for sure that the city of Aurora will allow me to do that. So that's where I'm at right now.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
Yeah, just to follow up for staff. Always when we
Alderman Buck.
bring in a drive-through business, we always talk about the stacking of the vehicles. So the whole drive-through will be encompassed in the lot. There is no way that we will have any cars, if we have a long line, that they would stack like toward Yola Road or.
Yeah, so the minimum stacking requirement for this particular business is because there's one ordering window. It's five stacked vehicles. So the plan, I think, is actually showing 7 spaces within the drive-through lane. And I think Mr. Kober was kind of getting at this at Planning Commission a little bit, but it's not going to be like a higher demand tenant like Starbucks, for example. It's going to be something a little more, a little bit smaller, and I think with less typical wait times. And we did review this with city's traffic engineer, and he thought that would be suitable for this to avoid the vehicles like you're concerned about being out of the stacking, the designated stacking. Worst case scenario, I think they would have space on the lot to stack without going towards North Yola Road out of Lot 1.
Okay. And then, of course, hopefully not disturbing the existing parking lanes that are already there.
Yeah, I don't see that there would be any disturbance. And there is a dedicated cross-access easement for Lot 1 and Lot 2 for the subdivision that was recorded on the property when it was developed in 2005, 2006. So it's been anticipated that there would be this additional commercial activity really for the last 20 years when the city council approved it.
Okay.
Any other questions on this agenda item for either the petitioner or staff? Okay, there being none, this was agenda item 250845 that we just discussed.
And 250846.
And 250846. Is there a recommendation from council to move to a consent?
Consent.
Okay.
Mayor, can we put this on unfinished?
You'd like both put on unfinished? Okay.
I would like to, and the reason I want to do that, I'd like to visit those businesses and make sure that they're in agreement with the drive-through being put
Sure.
there.
Okay, so we will put 250845 and 250846 both on unfinished. And I want to return real quick to 250692, which was first read, and Alderwoman Smith asked for it to be put on consent, but I want to make sure that there's no questions on 250692. There being no questions on 250692, that will also be added to the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
I think that's it. Thank you. If you guys want to proceed.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
25-0931, an ordinance establishing a conditional use plan development, approving the Orchards Crossing plan description and amending Chapter 49 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Aurora, by modifying the zoning map and attached thereto to an underlying zoning of R4A two-family dwelling district, B2 general retail district, and OS1 conservation open space and drainage district for the property located at the northeast corner of Sullivan Road and North Orchard Road. This is a proposal to build a mixed-use development. It's currently zoned ORI, 60 to 70 townhomes, about 10 acres of that, and about 12 acres of commercial. The proposal is to build a 3/4 entrance off of Orchard. The gas station, as mentioned earlier, is the Quick Trip. They're the ones that are driving this development. Also, the concept plan calls for a potential daycare center and restaurants. And the Planning Commission, the staff recommended approval except for the Quick Trip gas station, and the Planning Commission recommended approval for everything, including the gas station. And then we also had a condition about the charging stations that they're required to install. Did we say 2? Minimum of 2 EV charging stations. And that was amended at the BZ&E committee. And then staff is here to present anything else I missed.
Take a short presentation.
So Aldersville kind of summarized, I think, staff's point pretty thoroughly on on what we were going to present. As he mentioned, staff recommended, really supported the plan description as outlined by Alderman Seville and the concept plan. And John, could you bring up the concept plan? Except for the gas station, which staff had recommended making a prohibited use. I know over the past several years, staff really worked with the owners of the site to make this large parcel along a major arterial to turn it from ORI to a high-end commercial corridor. This required a lot of work with KDOT to get that 3/4 access. It was just a right in, right out. And then the staff's concern, while we support a lot of what we see here as a concept plan, it is concept. They would have to come back for a preliminary plan and plat, and then final plan and plat as well for each individual lot. Staff felt that the high quality commercial corridor we wanted, we were concerned that allowing the gas station at this early part of the project could prohibit it being developed with that high-end commercial corridor that staff was really wanting to try to get at in this area. So that was kind of staff's concern and why we made the recommendation we had. And as Alderman Seville mentioned, Planning Commission and BZE, the majority of them approved moving as is, with what the developer is presenting as allowing the gas station as a permitted use. John, was there anything you wanted to
I just wanted to add to the record here, we are trying to strike a balance between economic development goals and our sustainability plan goals. And I wanted to remind council of our sustainability goals. The 2019 sustainability plan talks about sustainability goals of promoting smart growth and promoting local and sustainable development that will reuse existing infrastructure. It talks about reducing the overall carbon footprint. And it also talks about promoting the use of existing transportation infrastructure and services to their capacity, and increasing alternative and multimodal access and increase access to renewable energy sources. So staff's recommendation was to allow all of the uses with the exception of the fuel center in trade for what is currently permitted here, which is an ORI, underlying zoning, which would permit warehouses and perhaps a data center in favor of more favorable uses with the exception of the fuel center.
And the developers are here with a formal presentation as well.
Are there any questions or comments from staff on this agenda item?
Yeah.
Alderman Bug.
Thank you. First, how far away is the existing 7-Eleven gas station?
You can actually see it in the lower right-hand corner of that exhibit that you're seeing there now. It's the item on the north's on the left side of that exhibit. The northwest corner is the Citgo gas station that's currently there.
That's 7-Eleven. Okay, so a few hundred yards. I mean,
Right
tops.
across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, tops.
Correct.
Okay. And in of course, you're a resident expert. We're always looking for the highest and best use. Where would you categorize this?
I mean, the rest of what's being proposed, staff, I mean, really support is, I think, great. Especially one of the restrictions in the plan description was trying to market one lot for a white tablecloth restaurant, which staff has really is pushing, as well as I know that one lot mentioned possible daycare. That seems like a great use. So really, even the drive-throughs, I mean, I think would be a good use for one, like the limit that we put up imposed. It's just the concern that the gas station, just by its, especially if it just ended up being a gas station, would not be a higher best use that we could get, like those other restaurants and sit-down retails. Sit-down restaurants was what we were trying to go with.
Okay, thank you.
Questions or comments from staff or from the council?
I have a comment.
Alderwoman Smith.
So, living in the world of AI today, before we sat down, I went into AI and asked Miss AI, when do we see in the United States of America that we would be 100% into EV vehicles, therefore, i.e. not needing gas stations? AI informed me that in 2050, 2050, that we would be 65-75% of new light-duty vehicles in our United States. Therefore, we are a really long ways away from not needing gas stations. I support sustainability. I support what Ms. Bates said, but we also have to realize we have to live in today's world and protect tomorrow's world. I believe that the gas station can give us a presentation to show us that they will not be putting leaks into the ground, and there will not be any long-term harm into our soil. We've had this before. We went through this with Circle K several years ago. So although I understand, appreciate, and respect the long-term goal here, we also need to remember the economic crisis, the budget crisis that we've been talking about for the last 6 months. This is a source of revenue. And then my question to you guys is, how long has this property been sitting vacant like this?
It's been vacant since Orchard was developed, so it's been 3 decades.
3 decades, so 30 years. Have we had any bites?
It's
and
currently
hits?
owned by Toyota, correct?
It is currently privately owned by Toyota, which is
Understood.
straight across the street to the east, yes.
Yes, but it's been vacant, no, okay.
Correct.
And has Toyota had it on the market?
They've, to be honest, they've respectfully, upon our request, they held it off the market for several years now, probably approaching 4 years.
Yeah.
As we worked with KDOT, we knew, with the request, we knew we needed more access off of Orchard in order to get an improved use here versus the ORI that's there. So an important linchpin in trying to market the property as a higher and better use, as we all saw it anyway, was to make sure that we had additional access on Orchard. We were desiring actually a full access, but successfully got a 3/4 access from KDOT.
And I'll finish my comment. I did receive several emails and a few phone calls, residents there that are in support of this. And then my last comment is I'm a little confused. Now we're talking data centers again because a couple weeks ago we put them on moratorium. So now we're taking them off. So what's the right hand and left hand doing here?
Yes, it's still under the moratorium. So, but it is.
I'm not really
ORI.
that confused. I just wondered if everybody else was.
Sorry. Yeah, so for everybody, yes, sorry. We probably should have clarified that, Alderman Smith, that it is zoned ORI. So currently there's a moratorium on warehouse and data center, so it could not come in for that currently. So once, whatever happens after that moratorium would be, the site would have to follow all those regulations.
Okay.
But it would still, if this doesn't pass, it is ORI zoning.
And just so the residents of Aurora know, they will be needing gas for the next many, many, many years. So that's my comment.
I'll be happy to send you the IEPC report that is actual scientists assessing when we need to transition off fossil fuels.
Do you know what, what, Mayor? You don't have to have your input on everything every alderman says.
Well, I'm just going to say, just so we're using science.
Well, I would
Alderman
want to
Barrera?
see that from other places other than you.
Yes, I have a couple questions. I'm just trying to get up to speed on this project. First of all, I want to say that, I've been critical of warehouses. We don't need more warehouses along the tollway and corridors in the city. We have plenty of business parks for that. My question is this project a go with or without the gas station? In other words, if the gas station is not permitted, does the project go away? And then my other question is, they're not asking for any incentives. There's no TIFs. There's no rebates or anything like that. It's just straight up development on their own money for this development. That's my question.
Alderman Barrero, your second question, the answer to your second question is that's correct. They're not asking for incentives. And for the first part of your question, I think it would be best presented by the petitioner, who's here to make a presentation as well in a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Alderman Nunez?
Whether it's either of you or during the presentation, is there any data behind the number of vehicles that drive down Orchard on a daily basis, just to get an understanding of what that traffic looks like?
If I recall, the petitioner is going to speak to that as well. If I recall correctly from testimony at our last meeting, it was 35,000.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Alderman
And do we
Stoll?
know what the Orchard Road is designed to handle, how much traffic per day?
It's probably a question for Rupa, maybe.
Yeah, or KDOT. I don't know that offhand. We can figure that out between now and City Council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for staff? Does council want to see the presentation? Okay.
John, could you bring up the presentation?
Hello, my name's Skylar Evans. I am the project manager for Quick Trip, and this is Jeremy with GTZ Properties. He is the developer doing the overall project. So I'll go ahead and hand this over to him first.
Walk through this.
Yeah, you can.
3 hours of traffic, so bear with me a second. GTZ Properties, retail-oriented developer. We, as a team, have been together for about 11 years. GTZ is a newer brand that came out of an older company. That company together developed 200 plus properties around the country with a big focus in the Chicagoland area. I've had the pleasure of doing some business in Aurora in the past and excited about doing business again with this site. Some stuff that we've worked on in the past. It was about a 15-acre property in Long Grove, Illinois. It was farmland. Actually, it was a Quick Trip-led development, not dissimilar to the project we're working on here, where we created a PUD to develop the entire site, and Quick Trip assisted with the heavy lift and the infrastructure and road improvements. Oh, that's quick. And the request today is for the PUD and zoning request on the property as a whole, 10 acres of multifamily to the north. We understand that the desire there is for low-density townhomes. Remainder of the property, 12 acres of retail, which will be primarily quick service and full-service restaurants. Quick Trip, of course, and we're also talking to a daycare that's expressed interest in the site. Additionally, through the zoning, looking for a conditional use permit for drive-throughs and the conditional use permit for Quick Trip, the C-store and gas station. Site plan here is what we've been working on, worked diligently with city staff who did a very good job working with Toyota prior to our engagement with creating an overall vision. Taking the vision through multiple steps with staff and kind of internally figuring out from an engineering and retail, primarily retail and also residential layout standpoint, came up with the site plan you see here. Of course, there's going to be the 3/4 access turnoff of Orchard Road, which is already approved by KDOT. That road will have a main entrance into the overall development. We've indicated a roundabout with probably some sort of a art feature in the middle of it. The roundabout then dictates traffic throughout the rest of the property with a couple of QSRs on the northern side of that entrance, one of which we're pretty far down the road with, a couple of others who we're still in initial conversations with. Quick Trip, which is labeled on the site that you see there. The daycare that we're talking to is looking at the property to the east, which is above the Quick Trip. To the right or the south of the Quick Trip, we have now re-engaged with a very well-known and beloved local, or maybe now national brand, who are fighting very hard to bring to this project. And then to the east or to above that retail pad is another restaurant pad, which we're setting aside to attract a full-service restaurant. And we're working very hard to find the right either national, regional, or local brand to participate in that portion of the development. Reached out to about 50 different concepts and restaurant groups at this time, and we are agreeing to continue to work on that for 2 years after approvals of the PUD and zoning to continue to try to attract full-service sit-down restaurant overlooking that detention pond. On the other side of the property, back kind of going to the north, we've set aside 10 acres for multifamily residential development. That development originally was a much larger component of the property. Through some feedback from city staff, we shrank that down, had a couple of interested groups. They were looking ultimately for a little bit more land and higher density, but given the city's feedback, we've shrunk that down a little bit and are now talking to some groups that are more interested in townhome development. Tenant updates. My mysterious retailer immediately to the left of the entrance of the overall development is Panda Express. We have deal terms in place with them. They've been extremely engaged with us. Both their project managers, real estate managers, and engineers have had calls with us to talk about the process. We provide them updates on our entitlement process with you as things progress. They seem like they're going to want to move forward as quickly as we can. Kitty Academy is the brand of the daycare that's expressed interest. They're working with a preferred developer who's been a little bit hesitant to spend too many dollars ahead of the entitlement process on their plans, but they're continuing to move things along. And then, of course, we are still in ongoing discussions with a couple of fast casual QSR restaurant groups that we've been talking to for many, many months now. And between our site and some other competition in the market and just overall market conditions are working very hard to make sure that they land here. And again, we are very committed to bringing that full service restaurant group to the remaining pad. And here you'll see again, contacted about 50 concepts so far, national, local, regional, to try to figure out what's going to entice them to develop in a great community where they're going to be very successful. And again, setting aside the pad there for a period of time so that we can continue to work on attracting that group, hopefully sooner than later. The residential, as I mentioned previously, is 10 acres on the northern side of the property. That originally started as about a 14-acre site. It's now been reduced with contemplating 60 to 70 townhomes type of a development on 10 acres. So the type of developers that we're talking to, our group focuses primarily on retail, so it's not something that we would develop. We would master plan it, entitle it, facilitate through Quick Trip's assistance the mass grading, common detention, utilities, but create a pad that'll be more attractive for that use. And Over time, again, we've engaged a bunch of different developers, as you mentioned previously, a few of which wanted larger land or higher density, which we've since backed off of. These are just some examples of building renderings of things that we have done, or what they call them, prototypes of a couple of the users. So upper left corner is renderings of some strip centers. We build only Class A retail buildings. Obviously, if you have a trade dress or something specific to a certain user, such as Panda Express, the building would look more like their prototype. This is their latest prototype. Kitty Academy, bottom left, also their prototype. And then the type of full-service restaurant and kind of layout that we're looking for right now is indicated in the rendering in the bottom right. It's ideally something like that is what we're able to attract here. Obviously, we're also going to be working with QuickTrip. QuickTrip has their own prototype. I can turn it over to Skylar to talk more about that.
Thanks, Jeremy. Once again, I'm Skylar Evans. I'm the project manager for QuickTrip here. Up on your screens is QuickTrip's latest prototype. This is, our latest model. We're very happy about this one. One entrance through a vestibule. This building is 6,445 square feet. I wanted to address the mega gas station comment. We are not a mega gas station. We have 10 pumps. So that's fueling position on each side. Our pumps don't have any music or videos or anything like that playing on them. We have 2 auto diesel pumps. Those are primarily for your landscaping equipment, diesel like passenger trucks, things like that, and then 50 parking spaces. Open concept floor plan. On the left side is a check stand. The top left is the kitchen, and then from the check stand you can see everything all the way over. We have 4 gender neutral bathrooms as well. 4 on each side, so 8 total. Elevation for our building. Canopy elevations, again, we don't have any music or anything like that playing on them. And that's really it, and we're prepared to answer any questions that you all may have. Thank you.
I'll begin for GTZ. It sounds like the most solid thing other than the QuickTrip is the daycare. Do you consider any of the other restaurants or anything to be solid?
I cannot speak for their behalf. There's still a due diligence period and some things that they need to work through. I feel very confident about Panda Express. Just had a conversation today with lots of diagrams and explanations of how much the area is growing with another user on the larger pad to the south of QuickTrip. So to answer your question, Panda Express I feel very comfortable about. Kitty Academy has been adamant about moving forward. Those are ones that we feel the most solid about right now.
Okay. And you've been in business for 13 years. You're buying up the whole property and planning to develop the whole property. Is that your usual approach? I'm just curious.
I don't know if I have a usual approach these days, but yes, typically when we go into a larger site like this, we'll act as like a master developer. Some of the tenants, like Panda Express, actually prefer to purchase. So we're able to develop the site to like a pad-ready condition for them to purchase. Other groups need more kind of build-to-suit or other type of financial requirements to help them get open, and that's a part that we play with those groups.
Okay. So is it generally speculative, like you just described, or you try and put someone in there first and it's a mix?
It's a mix. We're entrepreneurial and we take a lot of risk. We try to hedge that risk with the amount of market knowledge, tenant relationships, and know-how that we have. So in situations like this where we're not asking for any incentives and there's a big heavy lift with creating the road improvements and all the interior infrastructure, we're grateful to have a partner like QuickTrip that can come in and kind of take that economic burden off of us. It doesn't alleviate the rest of the economic burden. So we're confident that we have enough relationships that we can pull it all together. This is sort of a hybrid of the 2 kind of risk profiles. Ideally, I would have everything buttoned up on day one. Very rarely the case.
Okay. In any of your other developments, do they generally get filled, and how long does that usually take?
Yeah, very good question. Depends on the size of the property and the location. Our goal is to fill things as quickly as possible. Ideally, that can happen before we close on a property, right? Mitigate the risk. We don't have unlimited time on this contract, so we will be taking some additional risk. I don't know if there's a set answer to how long it typically takes. In our experience, we usually can get about 50% of the way there ahead of time. And usually once you see dirt moving and you can announce, especially in Illinois on larger projects, that entitlements are in place, you've closed on the property, people pay a little bit more attention. We typically see more momentum sort of after that. So I would be hoping to get a few more commitments. I would say you're going to lose time to the holidays, but starting in Q1 2026, start wrapping up a few of those other commitments.
Thank you. Questions from the council? Alderman Bug?
Yeah, just staying right in that theme. You said you did one in Long Grove. How did that go? When you closed, what percentage was filled? How long did it take after?
I maybe shouldn't have shown that one because
Okay.
that one took a few years off my life.
Okay.
I think it took 3+ years to get through the PUD process on that, including the DOT approvals and everything else that was required. During that time, we actually lost a tenant because it took so long. As of right now, I would say that the property, from like a commitment level, we did close on the property. We closed on with a preliminary PUD, so it's not even at final PUD yet, which means that we don't have all of our entitlements that we can go to the different users with. I would say that we're sort of getting close to maybe 50% of the total land is being committed, but Long Grove has also put significant restrictions on drive-throughs and very specific uses. So our tenant pool is much more narrow.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, Long Grove is different than Orchard Road, so, yeah. But thank you for that answer.
If I may, John Philipchuk, I'm the attorney representing the applicants here. I think there was a question about how important is Quick Trip to having this development go forward. They are the key because they are front funding all of the road improvements, et cetera, that are going to go in that will allow this development to then happen. We're on a short time frame with Toyota Motor Sales of America. They have been very patient, but we have a closing that's scheduled before the end of this month, and if we can't provide the impetus to move forward, then we won't be able to close with them. There was a question about the sustainability, and I would remind you all that ethanol is a renewable energy, and it supports our great agricultural industry in Illinois. So I don't think we should lose sight of that. The C-store, well, there was a question about the one across the street. The access to that 7-Eleven is horrible. It's only got 6 pumps. It's got a tiny C-store. It doesn't do near the volumes it could if it had better access like this site will. This C-store is over 6,400 square feet. We anticipate that we should generate $750,000 a year in retail sales taxes and gas taxes in the city of Aurora. So just wanted to make sure that you understood. There is some impact for this user to be in that development and to cause it to happen.
Alderman Barrero, you had your...
He answered my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alderman Franco?
So, couple things. First of all, it was said from staff that a majority of the people on the Planning Commission voted for this. It was unanimous. So let's get a couple things right. When we talk about taking business away from a gas station in North Aurora, I'm really not concerned about that at all. This is Aurora. So what I've been hearing for 11 years now is that we need more commercial on Orchard Road. Orchard Road is kind of locked up now because we have a golf course that extends throughout a lot of it, which, you know, right or wrong, it probably should have been back a little bit. So we lost commercial area there. We lost commercial area when we let a trucking company go in many years ago there too. Not things that people want to see. So this is our last chance to use probably one of the best pieces of property still available in Aurora to use for commercial. If we don't go this way, and Toyota has been very patient, as he said, and is zoned ORI, then we could get a data center or a warehouse or a trucking company, which we do not want. So the fact that a gas station is going to pay up front, and when we talk about what we do for businesses, we talk about incentives. Well, apparently we don't do incentives anymore. But the fact that they're going to pay $3 million for all those improvements there is actually an incentive for these other businesses to come in. It makes it very attractive. Not to mention Orchard Road with 35,000 cars and 88 right there, easy access on and off. So this is a prime spot for commercial. So if they're going to come in with a gas station, which I don't see a problem with a gas station, you can't find a better spot for a gas station except next to a tollway on a busy street. So there's that. There's no homes around there, the whole thing. So there's that. I don't know where you would put a gas station. And the fact, and we start talking about money, you're talking about $3 to $4 million in permits for the life cycle of the developments there, the $700,000 a year from the gas station alone, not counting these other businesses. It would be a shame that the people that in the west side of Aurora that have been chopping at the bit for more economic development have a choice between a gas station and other things versus potential warehouses. And I don't even think that's a choice. So for representing the majority of the people in the 5th Ward, this is a no-brainer for us. If this is the impetus for bringing in commercial use, then I am definitely for it. And I can't even imagine why we wouldn't be. As the Planning Commission, as they typically don't do, they kind of went against the recommendations of staff because they saw that this was a perfect location for that. So I am passionately for this, and I think my residents would be for this too. Thank you.
Alderman Spill or Alderman Bug? Yep. Alderman Bade, Alderwoman Bade.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe this question might be too early, but I didn't see any ingress or egress for the residential from Orchard.
The residential component will not have access off of Orchard, which actually helps for them with their circulation and safety within whatever community they wind up developing. What we've done instead is created cross-access through the retail component. We've very specifically set restaurants on that side of the development so they can act as an amenity to anybody who's living over in that area. So you can drive, ideally, obviously, it depends on the site plan that comes forward with the residential developer, but the contemplation is that there'll be cross-access through the overall site, as well as additional access to Sequoia.
They will have access on Sequoia?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add, Alderwoman, KDOT would not allow, no matter the use, KDOT would not allow another access off of Orchard closer to the interchange than the one we've provided. We had long discussions to even accept the 3/4 we got across from Bushwood. And to answer the second question there, yes, there will be access onto Sequoia for the residential component.
Okay, that's a relief.
Alderman.
And
Are you done?
another comment I wanted to make was with the current issues we are facing with the data center being close to residential, I think it's very risky to have a data center at this location if there is a plan of having residential.
Have we had any applications for data centers on this location?
We have not, like
or warehouses.
No, well, again, Toyota's been very patient to hold their listing of this property, despite some pressure, but we haven't seen them at staff side because Toyota's been holding this for some kind of an entitlement, as we've been asking for several years now.
Alderman Nunez.
Could you, for Quick Trip, could you speak to the technology of the in-ground containers today versus where they were 5, 10, 15 years ago, and any sort of improvements that your industry has seen?
Yeah, so a great question, Alderman. Quick Trip is top of the industry as far as it comes to the technology and the stuff that we use to contain fuel. So fuel is the #1 regulated commodity in the United States. So that means it's regulated from the time it gets pulled out of the ground to the time your car burns it. For us, we use double-walled tanks inside the ground. Our pipes are double-walled as well, and we also reduce the amount of 90-degree turns, taking the fuel from the underground tanks to the pumps, because typically in the past, that's where the leaks would come from, is the 90-degree turns. We've reduced those. We've double insulated or double walled our pumps our pipes as well. And then we also have monitoring equipment within the tank pit that can pick up any type of moisture We also have technology inside the tanks that monitor the water levels inside the tanks as well, to make sure that we're not giving bad gas. So again, one of the most regulated things that the United States has. Also, even if a gas station does relocate or decides that they don't want to be there anymore, they have federal requirements to pull those underground tanks, and it has to be cleared before anything else can happen. So there are federal regulations that require us to clean up anything if anything were to happen.
Second question. I've noticed you all have been expanding very fast over recent years. I travel for a living for work, and so see Quick Trips everywhere I go. Success rate from Quick Trip gas stations, you guys are opening closer than you're closing them, obviously. So can you speak a little bit to the success of your company overall?
Yeah, thank you very much. We started in 1958, so we have been around for over 75 years now. We have almost 1,200 locations nationwide. None of them are franchised out. They're all owned by Quick Trip. We've actually got another one coming into Aurora on the Old Deal. And so, you know, we're expanding a lot, but that's because we believe, especially here in the Chicagoland area, that this is a great area for Quick Trip. The gas demand is here, and you know, we feel like we can make a difference in the communities. We donate $50 million a year to nonprofits, you know, Folds of Honor, and we work with National Safe Place. Sorry, I'm blanking.
The big one gives money to everybody else. United Way.
United Way. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I blanked really bad on that one. But yeah, United Way is really one of our biggest ones that we donate to. And United Way is in a ton of communities around the nation. And, you know, whenever we donate to them, they donate to the areas that, you know, we are operating within. We also pay really good wages. You know, our managers start out right around $50,000 annually, and then that can be even more depending on how busy that store is, because of the way our system works for Quick Trip and the employees.
Appreciate it.
I want to just add something from the guy that actually helped bring Quick Trip to the Chicagoland area. My wife is from St. Louis. I used to go down to St. Louis, and I kept wondering what all these QT things were on every single corner. I was blown away when I went in and had the experience. I wound up meeting with them and learning a lot about the company, eventually helping them come to Chicago. St. Louis is, I think, like the 33rd largest MSA in the country. Chicago's top 5. St. Louis has 78 locations. They opened in St. Louis in 1983. They've closed 2 stores in the St. Louis market since 1983.
Alderman White.
Yes, I have a few questions. One was about, it seems like the traffic daily, or about 35,000 cars. So I'm wondering about increased traffic, specifically with semis. So I'm wondering what percentage of the patrons that use Quick Trip are semis.
Yeah, so on this one particularly, we don't have any semi-truck fueling. You know, we have vehicle fueling that has 2 diesel pumps, but the canopy is not big enough for big trucks to come in. It'd take them an hour to fill up anyway. They don't want to do that because it's not a high flow pump. So the semi-truck traffic that would be seen here is just for deliverables for the businesses.
Got it. And one other question, and it's staff somewhat touched on it. I think I know the answer. But looking at this map, is there a reason the residential is closer to the expressway versus the pond?
Yes. The short answer is feedback from the market. So we had actually originally had those flip-flop, and some of the retailers came to us and actually wanted to be closer to the pond, either as a water feature or actually visibility from Sullivan and Orchard. You have a traffic light there, great view corridor. The access then getting back out to a full access, right? You can only go left in, right out, 3/4 access in from Orchard. Retailers care about you finding them. They'll figure you'll figure out how to get out. So they kind of wanted to be a little bit closer to that traffic light. And it turned out that in talking to a lot of the residential developers, they either didn't mind or thought it would be perfectly great to be seen from the interstate from having a taller development.
Got it. And final question about ownership. So I read in the commission that QT is leasing that space, but also investing. So is Quick Trip a part of the ownership of the entire development, or just the space that they will be sitting on?
Good question. So my company is under contract on the entire property. Quick Trip would wind up owning their individual piece. Penn Express, assuming that they would be moving forward, to own their individual piece. The residential group would own their own individual piece. So as of right now, that's sort of how we're contemplating it. Ideally, that's how it moves forward. But again, kind of depending on the timing and final cost structure, we're not looking to do a joint venture with Quick Trip. We're an independent business. The financial support that we're getting from Quick Trip, the majority of it really does come down to all the infrastructure. It's an expensive piece of property. It's that much more expensive to then redevelop new road, interior roads, detention pond, expansion of the detention pond, engineering utilities, so on and so forth.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
Alderwoman Garza.
You mentioned last week about the safety for the residents around. They have the concern to have a gas station very close. So you're talking about security and cameras.
Yes.
Can you repeat that, please?
I can. Yes, thank you, Alderwoman. So Quick Trip, gas stations have been around for a long time. They've got a bad rap over the years, and Quick Trip is, we think of ourselves as top of the industry. We want to make sure that we maintain our high standard. We have about 96 cameras within our site, the Quick Trip site particularly. So we have coverage to all curb lines. Most of our cameras, or a lot of our cameras, can actually see out to the roadway as well. So if an accident happens, police need to come in and do an investigation. A lot of times our cameras pick that stuff up. They can come in behind the check stand, and they can review that footage, be on their way, and request it at a later point in time. Also, our employees wear pagers. These pagers have gyroscopes in them, as well as buttons. The employees can hit the buttons, and it would bring up a screen in our security centers. We have 2 of them, one in Tulsa, one in Dallas. These are all Quick Trip employees. We don't outsource any of our stuff. And then if that pager ends up going on its side, say an employee falls over, within 3 seconds, it sends a signal out to the security center. That gets pulled up. Our security team will then assess the situation and determine who they need to call. That way the employees within the store don't have to take their eyes off the situation that's going on, and they know that our security teams have them covered.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Finished or unfinished?
Unfinished?
Unfinished.
Unfinished? Okay, Mayor, that's the report from the BZ&E Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Seville. Next, I'll ask Chairman Ted Masiacos to give the Finance Committee report. This one's going to be long.
Oh, you had to say it. You had to say it. Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee met on November 18th, 2025 and reviewed the following items. Item 25-0864, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Special Service Area 1. This is for downtown infrastructure work. As stated in the docket, it's to help undertake focused stormwater management projects should the need arise.
Are there any questions or comments on this agenda item? This item will go on unfinished business.
Item 25-0865, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 44. This is a typical one for HOA Blackberry Trails.
Any questions or comments on this agenda item?
Consent.
Agenda item 250865 will go on the consent agenda.
Next item, 25-0867, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Special service area number 66A. That's for Ward 6 infrastructure projects.
Consent.
Are there any questions or comments on this agenda item? Agenda item 250867 will go on a consent agenda.
Next item, Mayor, 25-0868, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Special service area 66B, another Ward 6 infrastructure item.
Consent.
Any questions or comments on this agenda item? Agenda item 25068 will be added to the consent agenda.
Next item, 25-0869, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Special service area number 66C, another Ward 6 infrastructure
Consent.
item.
Any questions or comments on this agenda item? Agenda item 250869 will be added to the consent agenda.
Next item, 25-0870, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Special service area number 66D.
Any questions or comments on this agenda item?
Consent.
Agenda item 250870 will be added to the consent agenda.
That was a Ward 6 infrastructure, SSA. Okay, next item, Mayor. Again, another Ward 6 infrastructure item, 25-0872, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Special service area number 67.
Consent.
Any questions or comments on this agenda item? 250872 will be added to the consent agenda.
Okay, next item, 25-0873, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Special service area number 24, and this is Ward 4 infrastructure.
Questions or comments on this agenda item?
Is Ward what?
Ward 4, I believe. 7-3?
24?
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Did I get it wrong?
Yeah, 954 is number 4.
SSA 24. Ward 9. Unfinished.
24?
Agenda item 250873 will be added to unfinished business.
That's 873 I read.
Correct. So the first and the last of the SSAs will be on unfinished.
Okay, there's another SSA forthcoming down the list.
Well, this one's for
Okay.
24.
Did he read 7-2? I think he was reading 7-2.
He said this one.
Do you have any further questions, Alderman Bug?
No, we just, no, 873 is for SSA 24.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
unfinished.
Unfinished. Okay. Well, here my notes say the Finance Committee also discussed the 2026 budget at November 18th, 2025 meeting, and also met on November 20th, 2025, and reviewed the following items. Item 25-0874, an ordinance authorizing and providing the abatement of general obligation bond levies, 2025 tax levy and extension, and that is for library bonds. That's, I believe, I was told is going to continue for 9 more years to 2034. It's a typical
Any
one.
questions or comments on this agenda item?
Can we have
And-
staff go?
You want a quick staff report?
Please.
Okay, Stacy.
Stacy Peterson, Chief Financial Officer. The abatement is for all the general obligation bonds for the city of Aurora, not just for the library. So this is an abatement for all the general obligations. When you issue general obligation bonds, there's a requirement to automatically impose a tax levy for all the principal and interest payments for each of the bond issues. However, the city can every year abate some of the liability for the principal and interest by other sources within the city. Historically, we have abated all of the bond issues except for $4 million. Last year, we abated all of it except for $5,750,000. This year, we will be actually levying $12,691,750 and abating $14,905,999.86.
Any specific questions on the library or any other parts of the GO bond abatement? Add it to consent agenda.
Unfinished.
All right. Agenda item 250874 will be added to unfinished business.
All right.
Were there any other questions on this agenda item before we move on? Okay.
Item 25-0875, an ordinance levying taxes for the city of Aurora, Illinois for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. And that it's a levy increase in police, fire, IMRF pension funds, if I'm correct. Ms. Peterson.
Are there any questions on this agenda item? Alderwoman Bade?
Unfinished.
Unfinished. Agenda item 250875 will be added to unfinished business.
Mayor Lash?
Alderman Barrero.
Can we also get the presentation that was provided? It
Sure.
was a very nice overview in Finance Committee.
Sure. You got us, Stacy, I think we have that. John, you have it PowerPoint available to pop up on the screen? Okay. Invite Stacy back to the podium.
Can you also upload that too as well? To the
Yeah, I can add it.
Register?
I can add it to the.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
We can probably add all of these presentations on the budget, on the levy, to this.
Stacy Peterson, Chief Financial Officer. What you have, I'm going to present here is a 2025 property tax levy. This will be billed and collected during calendar year 2026. Basically, a levy, property taxes, is made up of three major functions. General city operations, which our tax levy will be around $47 million annually. The second major functions is pension costs. This includes police and fire pensions and a portion of the IMRF expense the city incurs for pensions of the general employees. The third major function is the debt service. This provides a portion of the debt service costs for the general obligation bonds on an annual basis. The property tax levy has provided $84 to $93 million annually since 2020. Next, this is a slide that shows our historical view of the tax levy from 2017 to 2025. The city's levy has remained fairly consistent over the last several years. The levy has increased in 2022 from $41.8 million to $47.8 million. You can also note here that The orange lower part of the top graph represents the general city levy. The gray represents the police pension. The gold represents fire. And the blue portion actually represents the IMRF portion of the levy for pensions. And then the last one, which is the top portion of the bar graph in green, is the city's debt service. Obviously, you can see how I mentioned earlier that it's been consistent up until the 2023 levy year with the 4 million, and then 2024 was the 5.75 million, and then this levy for debt service will be the 12.7 roughly. And the lower part of this graph as well shows the city's tax rate historically going down. That uptick between 2024 and 2025 is actually representative of the increase in the debt service portion of the tax levy. Also, to the right is the equalized assessed valuation, where you can see that that has historically gone up over time, which then has a correlation with the rate decreasing. This is a historical view of the pension, public safety pensions. The blue represents police pension, and the red represents the fire pension. You can tell it has historically gone up throughout the years. We had a dip in 2022 related to actuarial valuation, and also an increase in personal property replacement tax allocation with the state. And then it has historically gone up. And for 2025, the pension levy will be $22,974,400. The fire pension levy will be $16,499,000, or $16,499,800. I put this in the slide just to show the relationship of how the rate is calculated. The tax extension is the top portion, which is the dollar amount that we would levy. The EAV, otherwise known as the equalized assessed valuation, is the valuation of all the properties within the city of Aurora limits. It's divided by 100, and then that's how the rate is calculated. This is kind of a historical look back to 2023 levy extension and the 2024 extension. I did adjust that to kind of represent a $300,000 home consistently across those columns that you can see. So a $300,000 home in 2023 would have roughly $1,576 for this City of Aurora's levy portion of their bill. Then looking at the 2025 levy, again, the city's rate is going up. This is just an overall estimate, again, till the state, or sorry, the county actually provides the billing of the property tax bills, which will come out usually, the final assessment for that is in April, that we get our rates for us to review, and then obviously the bills come out in June. You will know that this will be about a $55 in change from a $300,000 for 2024 to 2025. Again, that rate is For the equalized assessed valuation, it's a blended rate because we're in 4 counties. It was adjusted to be about a 7.89% increase. Just as also a reference to that if the city's overall EAV would increase across the board, just hypothetically, it's 11%. The rate that you would see for the 2025 levy would actually be reduced to 1.5877, which then would be equivalent to about a $13 increase for the year. That's why the EAV plays a big part in the actual rate for the city's levy.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Alderman Franco.
This is a good number, and the reason I say that, the $55, because I could have sworn somewhere, maybe a couple months ago, where we were talking about this potential, that I remember a $212 amount per year for a $300,000 home. Does that ring a bell to anybody?
Yes. What with that?
It's not quite accurate because your
It's-
value of your home would not stay
Yes.
the same. It would
So
go
if you're
up.
looking at where it's got the market value of
Right.
of the home, historically over each year, houses do appreciate in value. So with the previous presentation I had actually taken the $300,000 value and multiplied it by an increase of the EAV over time. And then that gave the $211 increase so that you can compare, like if you owned a house, 2 years ago and you paid $300,000, more than likely it's going to be valued at a higher
So
rate.
these numbers are showing that the value increase. The other ones were kind of like a little more flat, so that's why that number was what it was.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, when I saw the 212, I'm like, oh, but I saw the 55 better. But I understand why you're saying the 55 now, based on the AV. Okay, thank you.
And I think we showed that slide because Alderman Barrero had requested to see that at the $300,000 level, flat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Just for
hard, it was
clarity.
hard to track before with the changing amounts.
And then also for the debt service is increasing by 6.9 million, and this is to offset construction costs for public buildings, our public works facility, Rivers Edge Park renovations, the fire stations. All of these buildings will approximately be about $100 million. And then, if you have any
Are there any other
questions?
questions for staff? Alderman Nunez.
Appreciate it, Mayor. Regarding the VRIFs and the operational budget, it seemed to stay the same. So how much are we actually saving from an operational standpoint with the layoffs?
That's probably more of a question for the budget side.
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have to get back to you on that. I mean, right now, this is the.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Any other questions on the levy?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman White.
So back to the assessed value tax to $55, and you mentioned that it could be as low as $13. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, so actually, if you take a look at the Exhibit 1 that's attached to the Register item.
Exhibit 1. I don't know which one's Exhibit 1.
Okay, so this actually shows right about the middle of the page. It's labeled as line 11. That is the.
Hold on just a second. John, do you have the ability to bring up Exhibit 1?
Yeah.
On the screen? There we go. That way the public can follow along while you narrate.
Everybody else.
Thank you.
So, right about the middle, line 11 shows the assessed valuation, and that is what the EAV has been for the city. What, in regards to what I referenced with the $13, in the 2024 column, the roughly about 5.9 equal 5,883,539,822. Taking that, if you were to take that times 11% increase, and then that's the EAV that I used to calculate the rate.
Okay, so that's how you got the $55. Is that what you're saying?
The $55 would be a blended rate of a 7.89% increase. I was just kind of giving you another example that if as the EAV goes up, the rate will go down.
Got it. Okay, so it could be as low as 13, high as 55, somewhere in between.
Yes.
You're saying? Okay, got it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the levy? Okay, this item will be placed on unfinished business. You might as well stay there, Stacy.
Mayor, the next item, there has to be an easier way to talk about these special service areas moving into the future. I figure it's been like this since I can remember. Here we go, 25-0954, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year
Do
January
you want to
1st,
get the
2020.
budget item? Sorry.
Oh, see, okay.
The big one.
The big one. Passed it up. 25-0946, the big one, an ordinance adopting an annual budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2026, in lieu of passage of an appropriation ordinance. And this, in general, and I'm not trying to steal anybody's thunder, this budget was approved 5-0 out of committee as a theoretical $326,000 surplus. Balanced in regards to balanced expenditures, they're not exceeding the revenues. We have a deficit of approximately $30.3 million. That includes carryovers from active projects from the previous year as well. And we are also, I think, what's trying to be accomplished is also to replenish our property and casualty fund, our employee health insurance fund, our employee compensation benefits fund, our employee accrued benefits fund that are seeing a deficit, and also it doesn't include it doesn't address, I should say, the line of credit that we have right now with Old Second for $6 million that's outstanding, and it does not address the $1 million debt that's been accrued with Online Aurora. So with that, I think the VNA is addressed in this budget, the remainder $250,000 that we agreed to pay that we were unaware of that came before us earlier this year. But with that said, I know there's a presentation by Mrs. Peterson.
May I ask a quick question before she starts?
Sure. I want to start off by just saying, I appreciate all the work and endless hours that the finance department and you, Stacy, and Krista have really put into this effort. All the department chairs that have worked hard, numerous phone calls and meetings to refine their budgets to do the same job with less resources. I think the one word that comes to mind as I look at the whole process has been the word balanced, a balanced approach. The council, like most municipalities, approved the continuing the grocery tax. We increased rates on parking and water and other things to help balance out that budget, as well as making necessary cuts, some that are going to require some significant adjustments by various departments throughout the city as we all work into a new workload in 2026. But everybody really did a lot of hard work, and I just want to genuinely say that I appreciate it, as well as all the council members and members of the council that attended those meetings to pay attention to all the minute detail. So you have a question before Stacy begins?
Yes,
I wanted
Stacy.
to clarify something. Can I clarify something that Alderman Masiacos said? I just want to clarify that the debt that the city has guaranteed for OnLight is not $1 million. It's $450,000.
500,000 actually.
But I just
Oh,
said-
500,000.
We
I
guaranteed
apologize. Thank you.
500,000.
I just said it hasn't been addressed.
It hasn't been addressed. I agree. I
That's-
just
that's-
wanted to
that's what I
clarify
said,
the
hasn't
amount.
been addressed.
You are correct on that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alderwoman Smith.
So, Stacy, if my question is going to be answered during your presentation, then I will stop. Alderman Masiacos brought up the benefit funds and the refunding of the benefit funds. Every municipality has these kinds of funds, and they fund them differently at a different percentage. At the end of this budget cycle, will ours be funded 100%? Will we be 100% in each of these different funds that were just mentioned? Or are we going to be at the 70, 80%? And I know that it's rare that they're actually funded 100%. I'm curious to where we're landing.
We do have a slide on that, right?
I do have a slide,
That's okay,
and
then I
then
can
when we
wait.
come to that slide, I'll talk more about that.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Again, I would like to thank everybody that has put in effort for preparing this budget. We started this back in April. We had our meetings with the Finance Committee starting October 21st, and we ended November 18th. I'd like to first, okay, this is not the right presentation.
John, do you have a more updated presentation?
Yep, that's it. Okay. Yep, okay. Okay, so I'd just like to recap some of the major priorities for 2026. The city's going to be a fiscally stewardship and accountability. We're replenishing the property casualty insurance funds, funding the employee health insurance fund, prioritizing projects that will deliver real lasting value to residents, restore commitment to funding capital projects, and reducing deferred maintenance. Also, another key priority is housing and community investment, focusing on creating energy efficiency, attainable and workforce housing that supports residents and strengthens the neighborhood. We'll also have another priority of public safety infrastructure and sustainability for the future. With the 2026 total budget, the budgeted expenditures will be $687.9 million. That includes the $75.7 million in carryovers. Revenue will be $541.1 million. The $146.8 million difference is coming from other sources from prior years, also related to some of the carryovers and surpluses could be generated from timing issues, similar to having bond proceeds where we get them in 1 year and spend them over several years. This kind of shows you an overall comparison between the 2025 budgeted expenditures versus 2026. And when looking at the gross expenditures, it's a 9.5% decrease overall. I actually broke this screen into two different slides. First with what's also attached to your Legistar item is the late changes and carryovers schedule for you to review. This slide represents the proposed budget that was presented October 15th. That's the initial starting point of the revenues of $247,541,293. Then you take and add your late changes for the revenue. Likewise, with the expenditures on the bottom portion of this, it's adding in or subtracting the late changes, which gives us a surplus of $326,399. Then the next slide shows the overall including carryovers. And when you add in the carryovers to the revenue and expenditures, we have a deficit of $3,333,161. And carryovers, just to explain a little bit about carryovers, usually those are related to delay in projects, them not being completed this year, but they would be completed in next year. Also, carryovers include items that we have purchase orders where we've ordered items that will not come in by the end of the year, and they will be received in 2026. And so those dollars from 2025 are carried over to cover those expenditures. This slide actually represents a comparative of just the general fund from 2025 and 2026. It's by department. You'll notice that it's a decrease of 0.73%. You do have to, when you're looking at this, you need to consider, just for example, you notice right in the middle, it's got community affairs decreasing by 100%. Community affairs was merged into communications and marketing. Likewise, you'll see development services decreased significantly. That's because economic development was moved up into the executive section, and then that's where sustainability will be for the 2026 budget. The city clerk also was removed from the law department and moved into the executive item as well.
And animal control was removed from public facilities
Yeah.
and put into community services.
Correct. And then this is just a representation of the 2026 overall, so you can see most of the city's expenses in the general fund include public safety, which is 41% police, 26% fire, and then if you combine public works and public facilities, it's about 12% of the budget as well. This next slide here kind of represents the process that we went through. We have several levels of the budget when we start. We start off with budget level 1, which gives the department divisions the opportunity to put in all of their changes. And then when we meet with the department divisions, with the mayor's office, we make adjustments, and that becomes budget level 2. When we got to budget level 2, we had approximately a $20 million deficit. We asked the departments to then provide decrement lists, went through that process, and level 4 represents the final proposed budget, which is also attached to the Legistar item. And this is just breaking down the by department division, by department, the overall change. We reduced the initial request by about 15.8 million, and that's about 6% decrease from the original budget level 2 to the final one that we have. We have some significant changes. Obviously, elimination of the Community Affairs Department. Public Facilities is being moved under Public Works. The Clerk and Sustainability is moved to the Executive section of the budget. We're establishing the first ever sustainability positions. There were several staff reductions, a total of 54 interns, seasonal, and cadets, 81 full-time, part-time positions. Out of that, 31 were vacant, and 32 will be eliminated through attrition. Total reduction of positions overall is 135. And then also, in addition to some of the significant changes, is reducing software usage as well. And then this is where we're going to fund capital and internal service funds. Capital will be funded by $9.4 million through home rule sales tax. Employee compensation will be funded by $3.3 million. We will be funding employee health insurance by $19.4 million. The workers' comp portion of property and casualty will be $3.8 million. And the property casualty portion for general liability claims will be funded by $5.4 million. And then the retiree health insurance fund will be funded by $2.3 million.
Can I ask a question now? We're on that slide.
Is there another slide that goes into this a little bit?
There is an
Hold on.
additional slide. This next slide shows kind of where we stand with 3 of the internal service funds, which is property and casualty, employee health insurance, and employee compensated benefits. I took the beginning balance from 2025, which is the top line, took the 2025 revenue to date and expenditures to date, and as you can see, right now, as it stands as of today, we have a deficit in the property and casualty insurance fund about $1 million. The health insurance has a surplus of 3.6, and then the compensated benefits has a deficit of 636,000 roughly. Then I took it one step further and added what we anticipate we're going to budget for 2026, put in the revenues, put in what we were going to budget for expenditures for 2026 as well. You can see that we will have, again, a potential deficit in property and casualty insurance fund and also a deficit in the compensated benefits.
Did you want to flip back to the other slide? The question, sorry.
So go on that we were just at. I want to talk about the property and casualty budgeted expenditures. Can you give me an example of some of the budgeted expenditures? Because we've been running a lot lower on that over the years, so I'm just trying to figure out why now, with up to $9 million, we have a deficit. So what are the expenditures we're looking at? If you give me just a couple examples.
There's, within that fund, there's workers' comp claims. There's also general property and casualty. Also, in terms if a major vehicle is damaged in an accident, that would come out of there as well. We have insurance that we pay for, like cybersecurity insurance, several insurances that are paid out of there as well. So, and then what we end up doing every year is we work with the TPA to get what potential liabilities are out there with open cases and review those on usually a quarterly basis to analyze what potential liabilities we will have that we would need to have a reserve in that fund to cover additional potential liabilities.
So there's a formula for that a third party comes in and tells us we need, but some of these are speculative based on we think we may need or we definitely, you know, I'm not saying is it like a budget is a projection. Are these projections of what we may need to spend or actual expenses we have incurred or will incur?
We also look at historical
We could get
items as well that we actually.
Brian, who does risk up here, and
Yeah. So the third-party administrator, the TPA, we use CCMSI for that, and it's the way that these numbers are set for cases, and this is something that a big portion of my career it was doing this. So a lot of it is there's a little bit of speculation involved because, frankly, you can have surprise verdicts, as we well know from the spring, and sometimes you have surprise verdicts in the other direction. Although I usually see it, with runaway juries, and so you put an estimate on it. Okay, so it's you do some discovery, you find out what the plaintiff's potential damages are, and you weigh that, and that requires some attorney experience and some knowledge about how juries and courts rule in these matters. You put together a legal budget for that, which is really based on your experience as an attorney. So some of it is a little speculative, just like any looking, you're doing a little bit of looking into the future, which is always, I frequently have to, I would say regularly throughout a case, I increase reserves and so forth to cover legal fees. That's just something that we start out low, and then as we learn more about the case, these things snowball. So it's not, what the TPA is doing is gathering all this information, comparing it to historical averages and averages across our region, Chicagoland region, because we're dealing with the Northern District of Illinois, and our juries are, include the Northeastern Illinois region. And so they're gathering all that information, and then they provide a amount that they say we need to set aside for this claim. It may be litigation, it may be a claim that's made, some things are settled before litigation, obviously. But there's a dollar figure attached to it. And that is what that's how that TPA, kind of in a nutshell, how that dollar amount is determined.
do you have anything to add?
Brian Caputo, Director of Operations Management. Just to respond to the comment earlier about these things being higher, or we're estimating higher than in prior years, I don't think that's really true. If you look at the 2025 number for expenditures and you look at the 2026 number for expenditures, they're really pretty close. The difference is the revenue in Fund 601, the difference is the revenue going into the fund. And I think what the CFO has done is realizing that where we're going to be at the end of this year, with the negative number, something needs to be done. And these funds are different than, say, a pension fund, where you can go in with 60% or 70% funding, and you're going to be funding over 20 or 30 years, and you can make up for it in the actuarial experience. While not all of these claims come to closure quickly, you're talking about a 2 or 3 year time frame, so there's not a lot of variability. And in fact, with the Employee Compensated Benefits Fund, that I think we had a problem this year, Stacy, where that fund went. We were needing to move cash around to pay benefits, if I remember correctly.
Well, currently we're
in the negative now, but I think we had
based off the liability.
Right, and so what we've talked about is to fix this negative problem here is we got a little bit of flexibility with the Employee Health Insurance Fund, moving some money to either side from 602 to 601 and 603 to eliminate the negative balances. And to the point about what's in the Property and Casualty Insurance Fund, it's, as the General Counsel mentioned, one of the starting points is what the valuation of the claims is. So you need to have, it's essentially a balance sheet. There are assets, yes, cash, but there are liabilities that are not very long term, and what's left over is equity, and those negative numbers on the 601 and 603 represent the difference between what we've set aside and what actually are the liabilities out there. So making sure there's money for the liabilities is one, the actually insurance premiums is the other. That's pretty well known on both on the GL side and on the workers' compensation side. There are also expenses that tend to be pretty regular that are for costs that are not covered by actual insurance, because we're self-insured up to certain levels. That is, we don't pay for outside insurance to cover every claim from the first dollar. So there needs to be some sort of flexibility in that budget to cover those sorts of things, and we can see over the course of time what those costs have been. It's not that hard to estimate. So I think what's really different here, and you can even see it in the employee compensated benefits fund too, is what's going into the fund, not so much what's coming out of it. And look at, I mentioned 601, take a look at 603. You see the expenditure number there, both in 2005 and 2025 and 2026, roughly, comparable. But the difference is what was going in. In 2025, only 1.1 million for compensated benefits, and 3.5 or so for 2026. The 2025 input was just simply not enough, and that's what put the fund into a negative position.
Any other questions?
Can I piggyback on that a little bit too? Because I'm still, and I don't know if this is part of it, reserves. I've asked about reserves before. Are reserves tied into here anywhere? Because when I see various other municipalities say we got to go in our reserves this year because we're running out of money, I didn't really hear that in any of these talks, and I didn't know if they're tied into this at all. How the reserves work.
I don't think so. I think usually when we're talking about reserves, we're talking about something in the general fund that's set aside to. It says essentially a rainy day type of fund. Sure. It also typically covers cash flow, because we get property taxes in June and September. So there needs to be some cash on hand at the beginning of the year to be able to cover bills until the big money comes in later in the year.
So are we not are municipalities not mandated to say if your budget is X amount, you need to have X amount of reserves, like a 3-month gig or whatever the case may be, something along those lines?
There's nothing regulatory on that. There are some best practices out there, and maybe Stacy might want to comment on where we're at right now in that regard.
I know we've talked about this too. What we have and what's generally considered healthy. I think you have a target number of 10%. Is that right?
Well, I think the GFOA has a target of Government Finance Officers Association has a target of typically around 3 months, if I remember correctly. I don't think we're anywhere near that.
No, we have a 10%. In looking at it, and either some municipalities have actually ramped that up to where it's up to as much as 20%.
So what is ours then?
Ours is at 10. It's something that we should consider.
I'm sorry, what's the dollar amount then if it's 10%?
It's 10% of the budgeted expenditures for the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
But we would like to get that up. Some municipalities have higher. I know on the East Aurora School Board we had a much higher cash on hand generally, but
yeah, it's something to consider in the future.
Any other questions? Alderwoman Smith, did you have any questions on this? I knew you had some questions on the fund balances that you had asked about
In the same line of questioning that Alderman Franco was asking on these funds here, is there a percent that you want to keep it at?
Normally what I'd like to see is to have kind of like a fund balance of $2 to $3 million in the fund. Yes. Obviously with this situation, again, we would move probably from 602 about $1.5 million to 601, and about $1 million to 603, just to get those to a positive fund balance.
And is there and I could be completely off base here, so please tell me if I am. Is there a formula in how much you want to keep in these balances? or keep in these funds?
Again, just
That's what I'm really trying to figure out.
Yeah, historically, well, you want to make sure you have enough to cover your liabilities and the current cost. So basically, and again, looking at it for 603, for example, we didn't allocate for 2025 enough revenue to cover the expenditures. Had there been a little bit more fund balance available in there at the start, we wouldn't possibly have that negative.
Well, there's
by the end of
really,
the year.
I'm sorry, Stacy. Well, there's really not a formula. I can speak particularly to Fund 601 because that's something that the council deals with fairly regularly with claims and whatnot. We're self-insured on our general liability up to $2 million. So one claim is $2 million. Historically, I think when Stacy mentions the $2 to $3 million, that's what previously what I'd seen with the city, because we try to have like 1 or 2 claims, just have a little bit of flexibility if you can, because bad things can happen. And it's not only the general liability insurance or general liability claims that are an issue, but there's also workers' comp. So if you're in that realm of 2 to 3 to 4 million in 601, you got a pretty good measure of comfort.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Did Alderman White have a question? Any other questions on these 2 slides before we let Stacy continue? Okay.
Then we have some of the 2026 capital priorities. Obviously, every year we have the neighborhood street improvements. We will have a New York street bridge, the Tivoli deck repairs, the Church Road water tank, also Macedon Lake, and then the Garfield Park improvements. This just kind of depicts what our overall general fund revenues that comes from, about 9 basic sources, and you can see that 37% of our general fund revenues is from property taxes, 13% is income tax, sales tax is about 17%, home rule sales tax is 7%, utility tax is 6%, fire service is about 5%, building and permits comes in about 2%. So overall, with the next slide, you can see that it's 92% of our general fund revenues come from these major sources. And what I have here is just showing you, listing them out, and then also showing the dollar amount that we will be funding, or the revenues that we anticipate for each one of those to be coming in for 2026.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderwoman Bade,
can I ask a question here?
you want to go backwards a slide real quick?
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't see any new casino revenue projections.
Casino is in the gaming tax fund, and this just depicts the general fund.
It will be coming later in one of the slides.
It's not in one of the slides, but I can pull that information for you.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide.
Okay. So then basically our next steps and where we're at today, the budget will have a public hearing on December 9th with the approval of the budget also on December 9th, and then the tax levy consideration will be on December 16th. And with that, do you have any other additional questions?
Okay, we'll put this agenda item on unfinished. Is it all the big ones? Any other questions or comments, Alderwoman Bade?
I do have another question. Can we go over the surplus once again? Because I saw different numbers in a different slide, so just wanted to make sure.
You mean this?
So it's 326,339?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's before carryovers.
Yes, that's before carryovers. And then including carryovers and late changes, it's a deficit of 3.3.
In one of the slides I'd seen, not today, it was 618,000.
Throughout the process, we have made adjustments to additional late changes, and that's why there is a change from the previous slide that was originally presented.
Okay, maybe we can discuss on offline and I can see. This is a
Yeah, 'cause
$300,000 difference.
Yeah, it's in we can show you the line items from the late change schedule of what was adjusted.
Perfect, thank you.
So to be clear, what you're looking for is a summary of the late changes?
Okay.
I'm asking.
I'd seen in other slide it was 618,000, some other number as surplus, and here we see it's 333,161. So I just wanted to make sure where is the $300,000 difference coming from? It could
Was
be
the
from
slide
late
in
changes.
committee then, finance committee?
Yes, it
Yes.
was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just it did
Some fine
basically that
tuning
was the last.
that's happened?
Yes.
Okay. Alderwoman Smith?
Yeah, Stacy, where will the transformation funds be shown? At what point in the budget?
That's in Fund 130.
Okay, is that something we'll be discussing? As far as overall budget, the budget, it's going to be part of the budget, but it didn't show up anything here.
It's in the actual document itself.
But nothing that we talked about today.
No.
Because I do have questions about that fund, so I don't know if you want me to talk to you offline about that. We can do that since we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, you can send me the questions and we can discuss it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Alderman White?
Yes. Can you go back one slide? To the three. Okay, so we start out with the 326 surplus, and then you add the carryovers and late charges, and then you go to the next slide, the $3.3 million deficit.
Mm-hmm.
If I heard correctly, the carryovers, also you carried the funds from 25 to 26 as well, correct? The funds that were allocated for those costs?
Yeah, that's in basically the fund balance at the beginning of the year.
Okay, so if we're carrying over the costs as well as the funds that were attached, how do we then come to a deficit? Am I not understanding it?
The funds are in the money was budgeted in 2025.
Yeah.
So that that dollar amount will be it'll be included in the beginning balance.
Overall, got it. Okay.
And then
understood. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
In general, I know there were some things that were not budgeted for in 2025 that we had to pay out on. We had expenses that were not budgeted for the 2025 year. Any other questions, Alderman Nunez?
I'll repeat my question from before. Could you touch on what the savings are in salaries and benefits after the VRIFs and everything that we went through?
Yes, we can pull that information for you.
And then I'd also like to understand where that lines up with the target that we initially was touched on, but it wasn't really given in the beginning of this process. So I'd like to just see where we were relative to where we wanted to be.
Okay.
Are you looking at the VRIF funds for expended in 2025, or there's like a little bit that'll trickle into 2026? Are you looking at for both?
Both.
25?
Yeah.
And 20.
If you can just identify 25 and then what rolls over 26, I'd appreciate it.
Anybody else that hasn't asked a question, questions or comments? Alderwoman Bade.
I want to explain it again. So I had seen surplus as 618 million in that slide. Sorry, 618,000 in slide, and here it is 333,161 deficit. So it's about $900,000 difference. So just wanted to make sure that is covered in the late changes.
Yes.
I will check that, and
covered in
just
late
wanted to
changes.
make sure I said the numbers correct.
Yeah, that's 3 million.
Sorry.
300.
Shannon Cameron, Chief of
3
Staff. I just want to clarify. I think she's talking about, let's go back to that slide before. So this is the 326,000 that you're speaking of. The next slide shows actually a $3.3 million deficit.
So I'm talking about the previous slide.
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to confirm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So previous slide, can we go back? We are seeing 326,339 deficit.
No, that's a surplus.
Surplus. It says deficit too. So I'm
Deficit is in parentheses.
oh, minus.
Yeah, so if it
Okay.
had parentheses around it, it would
Okay.
be a deficit.
Deficit.
So if you go to the next slide, this is with the late changes and the carryovers
Okay.
from the previous year. Also, those late changes, there were several late changes that you all received in the packet. If you go through those late changes, you can see that, but as the chief financial officer said, she can go through those specific things to show you how they correlate.
And this just
Thank
looks
you.
at the general fund. If you remember at the beginning, there was a $75 million in carryovers, but that is largely, correct me if I'm wrong, the bond money that's in the bond funds as well for some of the bigger projects that in carryovers.
Well, carryovers is for, basically that carryover schedule is for a lot of projects. It's the bonds, it could be MFT, it's capital, some of the TIF, so it's all the funds potentially for the carryovers, not just the general fund.
Yep. I just wanted to clarify that this was general versus the first slides where we showed a $75 million, in case there's any confusion over that.
Mayor, if I may, Brian Caputo again, Director of Operations Management. Could we go back one slide, just a second? That one. There was a question earlier by, I think, Alderman Bade about the additional gaming tax. The additional gaming tax next year is amounting to $3 million. $2 million of that is being transferred back into the general fund. $1 million of that is being retained in gaming to potentially to pay ACA, their subsidy. So in part, there's a couple of million there, but $1 million of it is coming from the extra gaming tax. Now, what's showing on this slide is that additional revenue, but not the costs associated with the attrition of public safety officers that are attriting. So then that's because the costs themselves are not budgeted. We think that given vacancies and so on, we'll be able to absorb that within the existing budget. However, that's not assured. So when we see a surplus here, and it's not a big surplus anyway, it's very small, that it reflects revenues coming in from gaming, but not necessarily the associated costs with that attrition. So it's a positive situation. We're confident that we can manage it, but it's maybe not as comfortable as you might first think looking at this slide.
Alderwoman Bade?
Hotel tax and additional gaming machine taxes are also included?
Yeah, that is in a separate fund as well. It is included.
Alderwoman Smith?
So Mr. Caputo said 3 million additional gaming tax for next year. Is that correct? Am I correct in what I heard with?
Brian, do you got a second? Come back up. Might as well just stay.
Added to what was the beginning number? Already 5 million maybe? Plus 3 million?
Right. The original estimate, the CFO's estimate was 6 million approximately, and then 3 million added on top of that for the, assuming that that there will be no delays and that the casino will open at mid-year.
Oh, not assuming that's going to happen.
We have to make an assumption of what budgeting is. We gotta make our
I just
best
wanted
guess.
to get your whole number. That's all I was asking for. Thank you.
Any other questions on this agenda item? Okay, this will be added to unfinished.
And Mayor, if we could just assure that we want these slides sent to us, the Alderman, please.
Can, Ms.
Mr.
Peterson,
Mayor?
if you can work with.
Alderman, hold on, go ahead. I'll let Alderman Masiacos go, and Alderman Seville had a question.
Yeah, I just want to make sure you work with Chief Fritz Jacobs to get all these reports out to us that have been asked for by some of my colleagues here on the dais as well, and work with staff to get this up on this presentation on the docket here in Granicus, if you don't mind.
Alderman Seville.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, sort of, but go ahead. No. Just a point of clarification, that's all.
Yep.
Now be appropriate time to talk about a division, a department.
Sure.
All right, and I just want to say that first off, I want to commend the mayor and your staff, as well as the finance department and the finance committee, to go over all this finances for us for the 2026 budget. I know it's been a very challenging year, and I appreciate all the effort and work went into it. When I went to the budget that was presented to us in October, there was couple things that stood out. One of them in particular was the police department. And I noticed a couple of things in there that the cadets were being zeroed out from 12 to 0. And there's a couple of positions, traffic analyst and crime analyst and traffic analyst as well. And I was concerned because over the years that we had intentionally, consciously tried to civilianize the police force as much as possible, thereby getting officers on the street. So I had occasion, of course, to view the finance meeting where they oversaw the division and ask questions of the chief and his staff and the like. And I had occasion just today to talk to Chief Thomas and again present my concerns about that, because the cadets we use, because Dan Burrow brought this up at the finance committee, we use the cadets as a number of things to free up officers so they could actually do more dangerous positions, to train them, and to also give them an opportunity to learn the job while they're going to school, and then decide whether they want to be police officers or if the police department wants to actually hire them and the like. And so after my conversation with the chief today, I'd appreciate if you could come up and kind of alleviate some of the concerns that I had and publicly to the city council before we move forward with the budget to the city council next week.
Thank you for joining us, Chief Thomas.
Matt Thomas, Chief of Police. Yeah, so we have had to make some cuts like every other department when it comes to staff and our resources. We got to a place, I think, where we feel comfortable going into 2026 with the budget that we settled on with the mayor's office. There are some, every position and every resource we have is valuable to our police department. That being said, though, I think we can maintain the status quo that we have going into 2026 with because of the commitment and work ethic of our officers. Some of these cuts are new for us, so we're going to really have to track the impact of those cuts starting at the beginning of the year. The cadet program, the kick analyst has been a position we've had for decades. The traffic secretary was very valuable. We added some officers to traffic as well, allowing them to get out there and perform more traffic details. So we're going to have to track that and to see what the actual impact of that is and the sustainability of these cuts. Some of the cuts, will be more sustainable than others. Some of them we're hoping are temporary, but I think throughout the year we plan to collect those data points so that we're able to track that. I will say that, I understand that every department had to make sacrifices and much like, our police department, I think that, it's important that we are able to provide those critical services and meet the needs of our community. I'm not going to tell you that, the sky is falling with these cuts, but I'm certainly not going to lie to you and tell you that, we're okay, when we're not. I live in this community, my family lives in this community, and I want it to be safe. So I think with going into 2026 with the resources that we have, the staff we have, we're going to be able to meet the critical needs. But if there is some money out there that, you know, when we go into 2026 and we can restore some of those resources and staffing that you just mentioned, I did provide a priority list that was asked by Alderman Franco. I did provide that to Mr. Caputo in the mayor's office. So.
And then you were saying as well, Chief, that as we proceeded with 2026, that we're not going down to 0 cadets. We'll be maintaining a much higher level of that. Can you share with the council as well how many?
Correct. So after our discussion at the Finance Committee, I went back to our training division. Our program is being attrited, not decremented, so that allows us the opportunity to continue with 8 cadets, you know, throughout 2026. That's a very important program, very important hiring pipeline for us. So what we did is I went back and talked to them about, historically we've had 12 cadets. That's been the number we've been shooting for. Speaking to the training division, I think that they felt as though 8 cadets was manageable. So we have 8 cadets through 2026, and we're hopeful that the city's in a better financial position in 2027 so we can restore that program and maintain those 8 cadets.
Thank you.
And the reason you chose the cadets over sworn officers for our many meetings, maybe 5 or 6, is that it takes $200,000 to train a sworn officer. So the priority, I think, was focusing on keeping that because the department and the city has already invested in those people versus a cadet where they don't have that value attached to them. Is that accurate?
That's a piece of it, yeah. I mean, the cadets are very valuable because we do get to kind of observe their work ethic. They get to learn the department for a couple years. And so, yes, and while they're in the cadet program, there's a savings to us too because they go out and they'll fill some positions of sworn officers at some of the special events and stuff. But yes, there's an element of savings for us as well. So.
Any other?
No, I just want to say I appreciate you coming up and explaining that, and it certainly alleviated a lot of my concerns in my mind because I think everybody in this room wants to maintain enforcement and safe neighborhoods and continue the path that we've established over the years, the very successful path that we've established working together over the years, giving the police the resources that you need and the funding levels that you need as well to do your job, and we appreciate all of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's very important, you know, that we have your support, the support of the community. I think that's one of the things that attracts officers to the Aurora Police Department, not only the professionalism that we have at, you know, the brand of the Aurora Police Department, but it's the support of the city council, mayor's office, and the community that really is what attracts people to Aurora, so I would hate to lose that.
Yeah, and I just want to say, again, from my understanding and talking with you as well, that we can withstand this year what's going on budget-wise, but it's not a long-term solution.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
So some of the things, even moving funding for certain officers internally within their own various budgets that they have. I mean, like we funded an officer through the DUI fund because it had a little extra, but that's only one year, one-off situation.
Correct.
Alderman Barrero?
Yes, thanks, Mayor Lash. So at the budget town hall meeting, I was there, and there was some. This isn't regarding police, so you can relax.
Might as well come on up, Kevin.
So there was quite a few firemen there, and they were talking about their concerns with potential brownout of two ladder trucks, and so one of the issues is the distance of, you know, that these ladder trucks have to go, especially if we're down to in the future. So I wanted some clarity on this issue, you know, out of guidance for not trying to violate the Open Meetings Act. We aldermen were advised not to chime in too much and push the limit there. So I'm going to ask it now. So when the council decided to support the additional fire stations, the 3 new fire stations, one additional in building 2 new ones and relocating them, that was based on a study to help improve response times and to provide better coverage to the city. And so now we have a situation where we're going to be down 21 firefighters in this budget. And so eventually we're going to have a situation where we're going to have something not manned. And what was presented to us was that it would be 2 ladder trucks and also the EMS 1, which is 3 battalion chiefs. So that decision's being made because of the budget, but no analysis was done with respect to what is going to be the impact. When will that analysis be conducted so that we can have that information in the future? What is going to happen when we're taking these trucks out of service? What's going to be the response time? What's going to be the impact to our community? How does this affect our ISO fire ratings? What does this do for insurance? And all that stuff. So that is something that I think we need to have. Obviously, we're not going to have it before next Tuesday, but we need to be looking at that information, and that information needs to be provided so that we know what we're facing if we don't address this. If not midterm 2026 or at least for the 2027 budget. So that's my question and concern that I'm throwing out there.
Okay. Did you catch all that? Or do you want
Yeah,
one
that was
question
little
at a time?
Loaded. Kevin Nickel, Deputy Fire Chief. Could you restate your question? Or is it more of it could be more of a statement as well?
Yeah, I think we need a study that's going to shed some light on what is going to be the impact here if we go down this path. Because I've heard it both ways, that this was not permanent, and I've heard that it's going to be permanent. And so there's a lot of different, and then I've heard that there's going to be, the ladder truck that's going to be taken out is going to be, not this one, it's going to be that one. I mean, so there's all this information swirling around. We just need clarity in what is the actual impact going to be and what's it going to look like. And so the information that we had when we were making decisions on adding fire stations, building new fire stations, based on some information that showed us, how it's going to make response times better, and how it's going to help the community more.
Absolutely. We're able to get you some more data. Obviously, none of us want to be browning out vehicles. I know that was up to discussion. At no point was there any talks of any permanent taking vehicles permanently out of service. There was talks of brownouts when overtime gets to a certain rate where it reaches a certain level, and just to control costs, possibly browning out vehicles. So, but as far as what vehicles are going to be, that wasn't anything in stone. So there is continual information that we're compiling and getting that, and we'll be able to provide you some of that offline and give it to the rest of our city council. We do have some data that we can share, but if you guys need more, we can obviously get that for you as well.
And just so you know, I mean, this is probably a bigger area of concern for me. We're going to be staying on top of both overtime and response times and being sensitive to those as we go. The one truck being browned out probably won't happen for a while, but again, that depends on when people retire in a TRIT. I did ask for some sort of historical data to look at when our peak call times are throughout the year, because we know that the peak vacation time for firemen is the summer, so we expect some heavier overtime then. It might make more sense to look at the brownout hours there for the truck that we're looking at taking out of service. Some other things that might help is we did budget in the previous years leading up to this to man that new Station 13. I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know we added the personnel for that in the past.
Yes, so Medic 13 that's going to be going there, it is in service right now at Station 9, and Truck 14 is also in service right now at Station 9 temporarily. So the only one that's going to be adding, coming on in a month is Engine 13. So that's Engine 13 personnel is going to be the only ones needed to fill that station.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but I know that we do want to look at some of the historical data, and I've got quite a bit of data upstairs I'm happy to share with you after the meeting, because these have been pretty in-depth, detailed conversations. My initial approach was just to not open Station 13, but under their advisement, it was let's do it to improve the call time, response time up in the northern part of the city, at least with ambulances. But they've done a pretty good job, and I suppose we could attach all that information to this agenda item if people want to know more as far as the call times and the call volume of each piece of equipment. They've got it all broken down and did a pretty good job.
Yeah, so like I said, I know it's going to take more time to get this information, but we're going to need it so that we can make good decisions going forward.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the budget or for Interim Chief Nickel?
Yes, please.
Alderwoman Smith.
So similar to what Alderman Seville said to APD, we're hoping and that this is a one-year issue, and that going into next year's budget, that we won't be dealing with the same level of cuts and losses. So do you feel the same way?
Absolutely. Right now, this year, I feel working with the mayor's office, we were able to get through this year. It's definitely not something sustainable that we'd like to continue down that path. With the attrition of people, that'll give us some wiggle room this year to be able to staff the vehicles and be able to have minimal impact, to the wear and tear of our employees and that too, because you're going to be having guys working overtime, firefighters working overtime a lot, and to go multiple years with that is just not sustainable. So
Can you remind me, out of the 21, how many of them are from attrition?
all of them will be from.
All of them?
Yes.
So
Yeah, and we're down like 8 right now.
down 8, so you've got that many more to
Yeah.
go, and will some of them make it through mid-year or further?
Yeah, it could be even go into next year
Okay.
with the attrition taking time. So we'll see how that plays. There's only so many we can count on to leave. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Alderman White?
Yes, I have one more question for the Aurora Police, for Chief Thomas.
Yep.
Thank you. So, I did have concerns about the cadets, and you explained that very well. I do appreciate that. One question I do have is, I understand that the attrition process will happen with the cadets. I'm wondering about what that entails. I think about, just practically speaking, when you go out and recruit. Some police departments go out to high schools, colleges, and recruit to bring in cadets to bring those individuals into to become cadets. So I'm wondering, will that recruiting process be impacted at all that year, or will that recruiting continue? Because if this is just a 1-year period where we're pausing on cadets, then in the next year we probably would be interested in bringing in additional cadets.
Yes, I think that is one area that is going to be impacted the most, is recruitment. Not only just for cadets, but for officers as well. I think that the cadet program, you know, with the attrition, we do have a few that we're going to be hiring this year to backfill some of those spots of officers retiring. We have 7 vacancies right now. We have some that we can fill. You know, the 7 are the vacancies going into the 2026 budget year, but we have 10 vacancies at the police department. So some of those cadets are going to get hired this year. I'm sorry, in 2026. I do feel like, you know, that is going to be a challenge for us is recruiting, you know, through the cadet program. But if we're able to maintain that cadet program in 2027, I think that you'll see that we'll be able to backfill that pipeline in the cadet program. If we're able to keep those 8 cadets in 2027, it's, I think it's, in my opinion, it's a relatively low cost for a very high return. Those cadets are very valuable. Some of them have gone on to be the chief of police. So I think it's a relatively low expense. That's why it's the number 1 on our priority list to reinstate should funds become available. So,
And how long does it take for an individual to go through the cadet program?
2 years,
2 years,
typically,
okay.
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Any other questions? Alderwoman Bay.
Just one last thing. I did get messages from residents and some other people. They sent emails, phone calls. They said with less number of officers and less firemen, how can we expect same amount of public safety in the city of Aurora? That's a big concern. So just wanted to say the feedback from residents here.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? This item will be placed on unfinished. I'll let the finance chair continue with, I believe, one more item on the finance agenda.
Are we moving forward, Mayor?
Yep.
Oh, all right, great. Okay. I'd like to also just do my round of thank yous to Stacy Peterson. I know I kept you on the phone many times for more than 45 minutes or an hour, several. And one time we hashed it out for like 5 hours up in almost 10 o'clock. So my offer still stands that I'm never going to do it again to you. We got carried away, but I appreciate you entertaining me and my questions through this whole process. But I will like to also make note that at least 2 alderpersons that weren't on the committee showed up on a regular basis, and that was it was nice to see. Alderman Patty Smith and also Alderman Jonathan Nunez as well. So appreciate all your insight again, myself personally, Ms. Peterson, and to your staff. But real quick, a little cleanup. I'm going to go back and get my inner Bob O'Connor, the late Bob O'Connor. SSA number 24 was actually about Eagle Point and DuPage County. So these start to blend in after a while. When it's all said and done, one SSA after another. But we have the next item, Mayor, is another SSA, which is about the 4th Ward, actually. 25-0954, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 90. That was one that we, I believe, created last year in January per the docket as well. Can you just spew a little bit with our new alderman here on the 4th Ward?
Yes.
as well?
Stacy Peterson, Chief Financial Officer. This SSA was established back in 2004. What happened is with the payment year of 2024, it was a 20-year SSA. At that time, there was still $11,315 that was still owed on it. The timing of when it was extended did not fall in line with the 2024 payable and 2025 tax year. We actually extended it at the beginning of 2025, so we will have 2 more years on this actual SSA for completion.
Any other comments or questions on this agenda item?
Just a brief question.
Alderman Nunez.
In a nutshell, could you just explain what was done in this area?
Basically, this was a curb, gutter, sidewalk, driveway approach, parkway restoration improvements.
Perfect. Thank you.
Alderman Franco.
Consent.
Any other questions, comments on this agenda item? If not, this item will go on the consent agenda.
Mayor, we also canceled our finance committee of November 26th. That was a makeup date just in case for the budget discussions. But with that, that concludes our meeting.
And because of that cancellation, there will be a lengthy agenda at the next Finance Committee meeting on December 11th. I looked at it today. All right, thank you, Chairman Masiacos. Next, I'll ask Chairman Carl Franco to give the PHST Committee report.
Thank you. The Public Health, Safety, and Transportation Committee meeting scheduled for November 27, 2025 was canceled, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chairman Franco. Next, I'll ask Chairwoman Wani Garza to read the IT Committee report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. INT will get met in November 24. The first item is 25-0853, a resolution to award 1-year contract for Keeper Security Password Management SaaS Solution to INSIC Public Sector Inc., Chandler, Arizona, in the amount of $29,535.32 for 1 year term.
Any questions or comments or discussion on this agenda item? Consent or?
Consent. Consent.
Okay, no further questions. This item will be added to the consent agenda.
Next item, 25-0880, a resolution to accept the proposals received from 2026 Water Service Maintenance Division Plumbing Service.
Are there any questions or discussion on this agenda item? If not, this item will be added to the consent agenda.
Next item, 25-0918, a resolution approving 1-year lease agreement with Nadler Golf Car Sales, Inc. for the use of 72 GPS equipped golf cars not to exceed of $54,885.
Any questions or comments on this agenda item? Hearing none, agenda item 250918 will be added to the consent agenda.
25-0932, a resolution to award 1-year contract from KNOW B4 as security awareness training SaaS solution to Insight Public Sector Inc., Chandler, Arizona, in the amount of $25,494.48.
Any questions or discussion on this agenda item? Hearing none, this item will be added to the consent agenda.
And we conclude the meeting, Mayor, with that item.
Thank you, Chairwoman Garza. Next, I'll ask the Vice Chair, Alderman Dan Barrero, to give the RAP Committee report.
Yes, the Rules and Administration Procedure Committee met on November 18th and reviewed the following items. Item 25-0908, a resolution authorizing the appointment of Diamanto Masiacos to the Aurora Youth Council.
Unfinished.
Agenda item 250908 will be added to unfinished.
Second, we had item 25-0952, a resolution authorizing the appointment of Philip Van Leer to the Aurora Civic Center Authority Board Committee. Recommended approval 4-0.
Unfinished.
Consent.
This agenda item will be, agenda item 250952 will be put on unfinished business.
And then held item 25-0321, in ordinance amending Chapter 12 of the Code of Ordinances titled Buildings and Building Regulations to adopt the 2024 I-Series of codes and recommended amendments. So we have a presentation.
And this was held at the committee level, or?
This is held at the committee level.
Okay, but you want to have a presentation for the whole council to see it? Is that?
It's on the agenda here, so
Okay.
imagine you guys want this to be
Let's
voted
do
on,
it.
to move forward?
Hello,
It's
Josh
only-
Freeman,
it's only 8
Director
o'clock.
of Development Services for the City of Aurora.
And John Curley, Chief Development Services Officer.
I actually think we got through RAP already. We got approved and put on. We've been on COW once and held here.
Correct.
I believe before.
Correct.
So I'm not sure anyone wants to go through the whole presentation. We can certainly do it. Part of the reason that it's been held for a while is we were waiting to put the property standards code with this grouping. We've been going back and forth with a lot of items regarding the tenant and rental items that we haven't finalized yet. But due to state requirements with the building codes, we kind of got to get this adopted, so we've broken them apart. So that's part of the reason that this is now moving forward, and it will not have the property standards component in there now. We'll keep enforcing that as is and work with them together. We've already kind of arranged things with that between building and permits, property standards, and legal, how we're going to handle that component for now. More than happy to go through it, but I don't know how long everyone wants to go with it. As did 4 presentations at RAP and 1 at BZE. We've covered quite a bit of this, but I'm happy to go through it if you'd like.
How long are we talking?
Well, it is 38 or 40 slides because it covers a lot of it, but I can just start flipping through.
Well, not if we've already seen it. I mean, when I reviewed it, I'm thinking, this looks really familiar. Now I know why. We've already seen this. So.
Yeah.
Did you say this is my apologies. That this is mandated coding?
Yeah, so in January 1st of 2025, the state legislature is now requiring that municipalities, including home rule like us, have to stay within a couple years of the current published ICC standards. The reason for that is there are communities in Illinois that are woefully behind, and they needed to set some standards. We're right up on the cusp of having to do this, and we would fall into noncompliance in 2026 if we do not adopt. I don't know how quickly the state would move to compel us, but another reason why we should be interested in pursuing this is we currently carry the highest ISO score in the state for building departments. We do need to have our evaluation, and the current version of the code that we have adopted will penalize us to a point where we move from one of the or literally the best to a grouping of some of the worst, actually. And that has to do a lot with how current our codes are. The way that their weighted evaluation works is primarily on staff certifications and experience, coupled with the currency or recency of your code adoption. So the insurance industry is trying to make sure that our staff is highly competent, as well as we're keeping up with all of the regulation changes that are occurring, some of which are compelled by accidents, hurricanes, all those kind of things. So that's the industry trying to compel us to move forward.
Well, here's what I have to say to that. Consent.
Okay.
Does anybody want to walk through the presentation? If not, has it been uploaded, Josh, to the agenda?
Yeah, it's uploaded,
Okay.
yeah, and along with all the previous ones, and then you guys should have the full 80 pages of ordinance updates.
Alderman Seville.
Yeah, I just want to say, as we proceed on this, to commend not only the city's leadership, but John Curley and staff and everybody, the fact that over a period of many years of hard work and effort, we're #1 in the state of Illinois. That's impressive. Very impressive.
And I think you received some recognition, public recognition this morning as well, correct?
Yeah, first off, thank you. We have a fantastic team, and I appreciate all the support we've gotten from mayor's offices and councils over the years to work with improving job descriptions, getting resources we need, training for people. So I appreciate that. But Mayor, thank you for mentioning that as well. We were Aurora was just named one of the best 15 stories in the Building Safety Journal for 2025 due to our promotion and adoption of the International Building Code. What strikes me as one of Alderman Barrero's questions in, I think, RAP had to do with how our building code is affecting existing buildings. We have one of the strongest staff in the region, if not in the nation, in implementing the existing building code. We help train people around the country, literally, through opportunities to teach how we work. We use existing buildings here in Aurora, describe how we've used those tools, trained architects how to use those tools. And that article, which I believe you might have been passed around this morning, goes into how that helps our existing building stock stay both viable and safe, both. A lot of communities you walk into, you're just going to meet the new building code, and that's the only option you have. So we pride ourselves in trying to find options to be flexible and still meet both the viability and the safety goals.
And if I can just add to that, that's one of the reasons why we were able to redevelop the downtown with regard to the flexibility that we have to enforce our current codes and yet meet the needs of the time, which is to develop the downtown in the much older buildings. Is that correct?
You are correct. We've done these kind of studies. We've done on, I think, about 80 buildings in and around downtown, all of which of those would have helped make the buildings more viable, or at a minimum, minimize the additional cost that someone might have asked for to rehabilitate a building when they were here talking about their great project and needing assistance from us. So it works in concert with all of our other economic development tools, but it was an important piece of getting many projects done, yes.
Alderman Masiacos.
Oh,
sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing that we're missing here, Mr. Curley, and that is to recognize you. You are definitely a very solid leader. We're very fortunate to have you here. When I first came on board, I remember driving by, and I mentioned it at City Council here at the dais, that you're able to keep your team working 8 to 8, literally, 5 days a week, and on weekends to deal with the overage of applications, building permit applications, working in a small building with cramped spaces and office spaces, and going in there even to get my own permits. I was impressed with the buzzing and the harmony, how everybody worked together, and was very functional. So you're able to attract and retain people through thick and thin, and I commend you for that over the past, at least, I've known you for more than 13 years, even before, just as an architect. But thank you for what you do for our city.
Well, thank you. Again, I'd rather focus more on our team, but I appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
Alderwoman Garza or Alderman Barrero?
No, is this on consent?
You want it on consent or on?
I'm asking, is this on consent?
It was.
It's on consent. Okay,
yep,
so
it was added to consent unless somebody feels strongly otherwise.
okay, all right. Then that concludes the Rules and Administration Procedures Committee report. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, we have one. Oh, no, that's the closed session. We're in need of a closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Open Meeting Act. Section 2C11, to discuss litigation. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session and therefore adjourn this committee of the whole meeting with no further action or public business take place for the purpose of this meeting? Motion was made by Alderwoman Smith, second by Alderwoman Garza. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Barrero?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Masiacos?
Yes.
Nunez?
Yes.
Seville?
Yes.
Benuelos?
Yes.
Smith?
Smith.
Bug? Bade?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
11 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. We will enter into executive session in 5 minutes. It's now 8:09 p.m.